a multi-month consolidation. Be patient. Look for any form of indecisions on the underlying asset, and then maybe you can get in off of those lows, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, once again, thank you, Charlie. Thank you, everyone. NYC Urbanista. What else do we got there? Overtime. Thank you for reminding me the overtime there. Your mom, Stonk Broker, much appreciated. But yeah, let's take a look at NVDA before we send it over to the boys one last time. Let's see if this support level that now can act as potential resistance comes into play, and then you maybe get another curl over. I think the imbalances are going to be really, really interesting, considering we still have 130,000 open contracts. So times that by 100, that can be quite some size. And then we also have some size at 600 on the SPY too, guys. So be prepared. We got a lot of contracts expiring by the end of the day. Be patient. I think there's going to be some more opportunities to get involved in today's market, and we've seen the volatility step in. So yeah, we're good to go. As soon as I get the thumbs up from Assassino, we're going to send it over to the boys there. So good to go there? I can't hear. All right, cool. Send it over there. Have a good one, guys. Happy Friday. Have a good weekend.
What's going on? I'm hearing like an echo in my ear. I'm just going to turn that off. But no, we'll let Obi get logged in there. And thank you, Obi, for stepping in for Sean, who's at CIRC du Soleil. The OVO is the new CIRC du Soleil. But I went, yeah, I was. Okay. I was telling him how good it was, because like I went with. We took our family, but also my sister-in-law's entire family came with us. We had like 9 people go with us. Had an absolute blast, and I knew Gia would love it. So I'm like, Sean, you guys got to take them. And so they, Sean, Marissa, and Gia, probably Baron, are all going there. It's a lot of fun, but I mean, promise you, the trading off these lows might be fun as well. Wish I could tell you I was long circle. I'm not, because I'm staring down this. Look at this push back into VWAP. What's crazy is that it goes into 230, but like these wicks, like when it gets down there, it's not always so simple. Like I was playing some of those before, and like always get out too early. Like if you scalp $4 or $5 on Circle, by the end of the day, it's going to look terrible on the chart, but that's just how it is. This thing being up 21%, it's just amazing. And I think, we have to appreciate what's going on here with Circle, to a lesser extent, maybe like a CoreWeave. It's incredibly impressive. Like there's no other way. The short, unless you're short. The shorts are getting destroyed, guys. But it's incredibly impressive what we're seeing. Clearly, this one is going. It's going to have a moment where maybe there'll be pullbacks, maybe there'll be some like crazy capitulation. But they're still buying the dips heavily in Circle. That time hasn't come yet. You're very much still in an upward trend. It's like day 2 of its secondary breakout. And there's no question that it's leading the market. What has happened, though, that's different from earlier today is Coinbase is more basing out here. So while you got this big bounce happening over in Circle and trying to go back toward the highs, like Coinbase hasn't been able to get off the schneid. Like it's bounced a couple times off the 300 level, but there's been no break of this opening range at 311. Like this wick up here, it's just now this gigantic double top that we're contending with. So a little bit of a stray from what we saw earlier, Obi, where it was very clear that these were somewhat going they weren't going exactly in lockstep, but somewhat going lockstep. I have a couple of positions on which I just realized weren't even there. Intel from earlier, and I'm long some Robinhood, which also did not get to the volume weighted average price. But when I missed the bounce in Circle, I was like, whatever, we'll just get long into Robinhood because I missed Circle. So respecting this triple top, this trends out at the high. I'm getting out at the high. Like Wednesday's high, morning high, afternoon high, whatever. We get back up there again and turn. I'm just going to jump out of Robinhood. But everything that is crypto related is looking pretty good. MSJ, Marcus Steven Johnson, give me a look long MP materials. I actually gave this a long look in the middle of the day. And you know what? I sat there and I'm like, I wanted this breakout when it was trending, was right in about here when it started breaking out in the top. I'm like, yeah, I think I'm gonna work into a breakout. And then just second I decided I wanted to take MP for an afternoon or midday breakout, it just completely dumped and the market looked a little bit weak. This is another great looking stock. I think when you're in a trend like this, just look for the obvious signs. Like it gave you the dip into the prior close. That's worth it because you're not breaking out the highs, yesterday's highs. So if you got to play the dips in the prior close makes sense. That's already worked. The breakout, the fresh breakout into 52-week highs, that'll have to wait at least a little bit here. But yeah, it's been a fun one, Obi.
Oh yeah.
I can tell you without Circle, you saw how this morning was going, but like you scalp Circle a couple times and then you get everything back.
Yes.
But it still didn't hold it long enough.
You know,
oh man, it's one of those stocks.
That's the thing with CIRC. Yeah, exactly. It's one of those stocks. We knew coming in like the level of volatility that it could potentially possess, and we saw what it did right off of the open as well. Right, so it's just like, okay, well, that's why I'm like, okay, when I got into the trade, I'm like, all right, well, how much do I really give this? Do I give it to the prior structure? I definitely held that trade a little bit longer than I really should have because that was almost 10 points lower. But you know, it is what it is. Sizing accordingly to be like, all right, well, I want to take an effective push into this. That 235 level was that prior consolidation low right here, as you can see, and then we're kind of holding that again. So I got back in, maybe with a little bit less than before, but again, I want to see more of what I'm looking for, maybe a stair step up for a potential push of that 250 here on Circle. So let's see if that'll bring us in. As of right now, still trading and consolidating above VWAP and holding that 240 right now, Neil. So yeah, I gotta pull up the chat here and see what you guys are saying. But hopefully you guys have had some solid trades. Again, morning session was crazy. Midday session was pretty decent as well. We got that TQ short that really came in. Yep. And yeah, a lot of opportunity on that one there. That news comes out and then we get that follow through within the next 20-30 minutes of that news, and we get the follow through day lows. So if you had kind of positioned yourself within the news and then be like, all right, I'm giving it an appropriate risk, that was pretty nice as well. And again, you guys saw I did get a little short on the TQs, but did I give it the appropriate risk? And not really. I think, look, getting stopped out right there, and basically comes in, takes my stop, and then the move follows through for the push all the way back down. So, oh boy, that was a bit of a missed one there, but where's the next trade? That's what I'm asking. I still have these futures on the last contract, so we are on the U contract now.
Oh, there's a lot of questions asking about triple witching. So witching, obviously options expiration is a big deal, but a lot of times the effect on witching is it's not limited to, but the open tends to do all the extra volatility. And then on a day like today, it's a bigger deal that you have index for balancing, the S&P 500 index for balancing at the close. That's a bigger deal for the final half an hour than witching is, and at least in my opinion, at least in my experience as well. And it's not that both don't matter. I just think one matters maybe a little more than the other. And Imran in the chat, and for those that have mentioned this, I'm telling you, and I'm glad people have pointed this out, and I'm not sure the exact reason why it's so good. Maybe it's just that daily chart on Micron. Micron has held up incredibly well today relative to the other chips. And NVIDIA's down 1%. Most people have probably seen NVIDIA by now. I mean, Intel was an easy short because Intel's Intel. But if you look at MU has overnight, morning, and go back to that'd be Tuesday, I guess. Yeah, it'd be Tuesday's high. For potential breakout here on Micron. This is a gorgeous looking chart, and look at that uptrend. This is why we were pointing this one out a while back on the daily. Like once it got away from the 115 zone, it's just been another leg to the upside. I'm not sure what stops it till it gets to about 135 change, something along those lines. So Micron looks fantastic. I am short Intel, but that's from earlier. Robinhood was just a recent bounce when I saw Circle bounce. But I think we're ready to get into the rundown. So let's go to Joe and see what you guys want to talk about.
Here we go. All right, guys, welcome to the afternoon rundown, the segment where we talk about the stocks that you guys pick throughout the trading day. There is no more voting, a new method coming in. Very interesting one here, guys. We're going to have some fun. But first up on the docket is the much anticipated Coinbase, guys. So why are we continuing to climb higher? Shares are trading higher Wednesday after the company launched Coinbase Payments, a new stablecoin-based payment infrastructure aimed at streamlining global e-commerce transactions. So this is very interesting, and this is some big-time moves that we're seeing in Coinbase, guys. We're still up about 3% on the session, and we put in a monster day on Wednesday, guys. What do you think about Coinbase?
So Coinbase, all right, tale of two cities. Not to make a pun, but I'm just making a pun. It really mattered, and we'll get into, I mean, yeah, Circle's next anyway, so we'll talk about the comparison between the two. Coinbase and Circle had been going lockstep, you know, play one on Friday, play the other. The timing was the only difference between how strong they were. But what happened in Coin today is really an inside day. It's a deceivingly inside day. But I'm up on Circle, but I have a feeling, I don't know if I would have done better on Coinbase. It's entirely possible I would have done better on Coinbase. When we talk about this most simplistic strategy that you can look for when you're looking at a chart, on an upward trend, pulling back into the prior high or support turning into resistance and vice versa is maybe the first thing that you learn. Whether you get taught it by somebody else or you just notice it on the chart, it's one of the first things you're going to see, and it's pretty obvious. And when it happens, if you're bullish on Coinbase today, let's just say, and you're looking for the long, I wasn't, I like Circle better, then the first thing when it fails that open is where's it going to bounce? Look for the prior day high. And that's exactly what happened multiple times. I know that's why Sean was long down here. You know, I can tell you that without even asking for sure. That's why he had it. He might still have some with a trailing stop on. I should double check. But that 300 level area really pulls back down into like 299, and you can see the punch that this has still got going with it. The only thing that would concern me this afternoon is the gravity toward 300 because it's options expiration. The fact that it never broke the top at any point, and it can't seem to break VWAP while Circle is remaining strong. And the other thing I would add is even like Hood, which is adjacent, all of a sudden Hood's stronger as well. I don't know, like it's almost as if Coinbase can't get away from $300. It's just a guess on my part. By the way, in Robinhood, oh, wait a minute. Hood's on the list too? Okay. Anyways,
Okay.
I'll hold off on Robin. But I can't because I'm going to get out at the highs if it does a reversion. Like, look at this trend back up. If it reverts that trend, I'm easily getting out. I just got to let you know.
Yeah, I think that's a great look. We'll get back to that one there. But Coinbase, I also had a similar plan for that 300. But again, it was a little bit more of I want to see this plus a couple of other factors, and those factors didn't really come into play until a little bit later here. But we're consolidating above that 300 again, very healthy kind of stuff here as we continue to push. And yeah, that prior day high was where I got that 300 mark from, and that prior day high was 299.32. Coming into the pre-market, we saw that we already kind of reclaimed some of those levels. So yeah, trading within its opening range as of right now. I was looking for that continuation right off of the open. We did get to 310, so that 300 hold, I guess it did technically come in the pre-market, and then it gave it to you a couple more times intraday. Let's see if it gives it to us again here, Neil. But the past prior low that we've made was in and around 382. We're coming back into VWAP, but again, sideways consolidation. So maybe we talk about consolidations and price acceptance. 300 consolidation seems pretty nice for a potential push in the next trading day as well. So if we kind of close in and around this range, you got that leg consolidation leg for that 3-bar pattern. So let's see if that can show up there on Coin coming into the next week.
Yeah, fantastic look there, guys. So next up on the docket here, we got Circle up a whopping 189% from its IPO. So this is a big time move that we're experiencing here in Circle. So Circle's flagship stablecoin USDC set for rapid growth, says regulatory climate key. Circle Internet Group NYSE stock surged Friday after Seaport Global analyst Jeff Cantwell initiated coverage with a buy rating and a $235 price forecast there, guys. Big time move, up 20% on the day. What do you guys think about Circle?
I think it's amazing. But it's also amazing that, like, for whatever reason, it's one of those types of stocks where you get cute and you trick yourself. I'm going to show you this morning. I missed it. I slapped a fail like multiple times for missing this reversion. I just missed the punch and then wasn't willing to chase it when it pulled back into the prior low. It was trending down, and I was determined not to get in on these red candles because of how heavily it was falling. If you were watching this, and anybody, if you were watching Circle at the open while this was happening, then I don't need to tell you that nobody wanted to make a bid, and it didn't make any sense to just stand there and grab longs. Like, it's one thing when you grab longs on like a Tesla or NVDA when it's doing something like that, because liquidity is liquidity on those. On Circle, I didn't want to get trapped in like, oh, you do that, next thing you know, you're halted down. Like, that wasn't going to happen to me. So I took the first consolidation I could, which was $25 from the low, scalped it out, and then the only explanation I have, it makes sense to me, but not to anybody else, will be when it pulled under VWAP, I took another mean reversion, and then I got cute with it. I'm like, this is the open, this is the trend down, and the second it started rejecting that trend line, see this wedge that it had going? The second it started rejecting that trend line, I jumped out of the trade, promptly watched it bounce off VWAP and go higher. So the thing that I learned with Circle today, up, down, around, it doesn't matter. Like, if you scalp like $7 or $8 on the thing, you're going to be up on it, even if it could have been your best trade since the IPO open, and it should have been, but it's not. The thing I've learned about it is sometimes you just have to expand, not expand your strategies, but on a stock which is this strong, just take more long setups. Like, I don't mind that I scalped out of this, but if I'm going to get out because it's rejecting the top of that wedge, then the logic dictates that when it breaks this wedge, you've got to go long here. It's that simple. If I'm getting out because of this, then I'm getting in again for the same reason. And that just comes down to being consistent with your rule base and your strategies. And if you do that, then you're fine. But it doesn't make any sense to get out when I see it rejecting this to then not jump right back in like $1.50, $2 higher, and you give it to VWAP, and then we see 250. I don't know if we get a 250 break today. I'll be inclined to not want to take a breakout at a number like 250 on a Friday. I'd rather see if we can't play a false break and then a dip buy. If we get VWAP again, I'd probably take a chance, but I mean, who knows whether you get it or not. Love to trade. I'll get to Intel in a bit. It's really not moving that much. Back to break even, but if you can't figure, you can probably figure out where my stop is. You're really not that you're not that close. You're not that far when you put it in the chat, because you guys have watched me trade. You know where my stop is.
Yeah, I think Circle's one that, again, it was very aggressive. I think you said it well. Off of the open, I was a little aversive of it as well, because I was just like, all right, well, if they're going to pull the bid and continue to smash, I'm just going to be like, all right, well, I can either chase, which I definitely did not do, but thinking back at it, I think there were definitely a little bit of entry opportunities on that push into the open there. Again, a lot of traders looking at this name off of the open for a potential setup here. But yeah, you said I honestly I would like that 250, but I might be a little bit biased here, Neil. But again, I think what we can see here is that the aggressive selling that we have had every single time has stepped up every single time as well. So we are building these higher highs and higher lows going into that 250. The question just becomes, are we going to make it through there anytime today? I think if we just continue this trend, I think is well within range, is what I'll say to that one there. But again, got to watch out for some of that aggressive price action when it does come in. It has come in pretty aggressively, more to the sell side than to the long side. But bigger picture, you can see that Circle has been doing pretty well holding up its own here. We can go to a higher time frame, take that VWAP off, and take a look at this. You had that day one, that amazing push. We were there for that IPO, consolidated for almost, I guess, a few days there, steps up, consolidates, and we're getting that run, that continuation, potentially from a prior day as well. So beautiful kind of extension off of the IPO that just came out just a couple of weeks ago. So beautiful stuff.
Some big time news for Advanced Micro Devices. Hard to say its actual name here now, so we might have to change that up there. But some big news, guys. We know that we've been in a bear trend in AMD for quite some time, but it seems that over the past month or so, we have broken that. Month to date, we are up around 13.5%, so very good stuff here. As OpenAI, so let's talk about the MI400 here. So as OpenAI, Oracle Corp, and SoftBank push forward with the $500 billion Stargate project, an ambitious ambitious plan to build the world's largest AI infrastructure in the United States. Industry watchers are closely eyeing AMD as the next generational chip as a potential cornerstone of the monumental program, guys. Some big news and continuous news in AMD. We're seeing that they're striking deals with the Gulf countries as well, too. So some good stuff following AMD. I like this name, starting to pick up steam.
Yeah, it really is. And like I didn't trade AMD today. Obviously, you can see I'm in Intel right now. And as Joe was mentioning in the midday, I was also in NVIDIA in both directions. But AMD, for everything that's happened, it doesn't look bullish today. You've got to focus on the daily chart. But before we get into that, this analysis and this portion of the show brought to you by VinFast, as they've announced the opening of its first authorized dealership in San Diego, California, in partnership with Sunroad Automotive Group as it strengthens its U.S. distribution. VinFast already has a robust network of more than 30 authorized dealers across 15 key states. Globally, VinFast operates 388 showrooms, with over 90% now dealer-operated following its strategic pivot to a capital-efficient dealership model in late 2023. Scan the QR code you see in front of you for more information. Link in the description. Shout out to VinFast. Good-looking car. Good-looking hold of the 200-period moving average on AMD. So as much as this chart has a few alarm bells, which I'll get to in a second on the 15-minute chart, the daily chart is still very solid, holding 125, holding the 200-period moving average. The last time it made a leg, the last leg up, it actually broke contain and went down to 110 before working its way back up. So it wasn't very clean, the last consolidation on the way up. And if this one isn't either, maybe 120 becomes more important than the 200-period moving average. But there's nothing on the daily chart that has me that concerned about the upward trend on AMD. Short term, and then this afternoon as well, this is not usually the type of setup that makes me think bullish in the afternoon. Like it just isn't. I can't bring myself to want this one to the long side, even though it has held that support. It's a monster failed break with a huge lower high, setting up what seems like a head and shoulders. Then you get the fact that this resistance is at 130 on a Friday. Yeah, a lot of that just lends me to stay away, only because it's chip time. I will mention, I'm not opposed to reloading Intel here because the Nasdaq is at VWAP. So if we pull back and do a little reversal off VWAP again, I think it's going to make some sense to just jump into Intel. And what did I say before about support turning into resistance? That's the basic plan here. I was looking at it anyways, and then I was, got lucky, the chip news. Like I was looking at this consolidation breakdown anyways, and then that headline hits, and all of a sudden it's like falling all over itself. And you're like, oh, that's great. I was going to short this anyways. And the next thing you know, you're laughing. So that's a little bit fluky, because I think that probably goes half the distance otherwise. But I did try to reshort it once, missed these. I'll take a shot at it if we can get another topping tail and set up for the shorts. But AMD, still like the daily chart at least.
Yeah, I think that daily chart is building up really well. That's a good look. And yeah, from yesterday, again, another name, if you guys watch the show for this stock, is Advanced Money Destroyer. And guess what? Pretty much destroying the book both ways here, pushing through prior days consolidation highs. You can see that aggressive push. Nice little consolidation. Again, we talk about different kinds of consolidations. This consolidation at the extreme, at the highs, and then it fails and breaks down, kind of destroying along its way here. So beautiful V-shaped recovery. I've mentioned this a couple times today. V-shaped recoveries are now being seen all over the place now, so beautiful stuff here. Giving it all back, but holding opening range lows, holding some of these pre-market lows as well, consolidating sideways. Sure, we're building up pretty aggressively into some of these lows here, but yeah, looking back at it, bigger picture, we're still kind of sustaining this consolidation. We're attempting to push, but technically speaking, when you go up a frame, it's still making higher highs and higher lows, even though the intraday volatility is a little bit, can be potentially, if you can consider it, potentially skewed as well. But yeah, AMD pretty solid there, pretty solid stuff there. Doing relative volume in the open session and throughout the day as well. You can see it's been pretty sustained, even with the volume kind of dropping off there since the opening session. So good look on AMD here. Opportunities seems like they were a lot more fruitful in the morning than they are now because it's just consolidating sideways.
a duplicator now. We got to call it duplicator. It's no longer the destroyer of capital anymore. But no, we have fun with that one there. Obi and I were sitting on the floor when we heard that, and we had a chuckle. But guys, CoreWeave up about 8.6% on the day, and in 1+ month, we're up over 100%. So this is some big-time move that we're seeing in some of these IPOs, guys. CoreWeave announces launch of 3 new AI cloud software products and capabilities to help customers develop, deploy, and iterate AI faster. A solid look here. Once again, up over 9% on the day, guys.
Yes, sir. And CoreWeave on any other day. On any other day, this would be the one. And people will be talking about this instead of Circle, but it's not. It's Circle's day. It's Circle's world. And CoreWeave is just like the sloppy seconds of 9% up and 6x from the lows on an IPO in just a couple of months can be considered sloppy seconds. Well, then that's what it is. I tried a simple breakout trade that didn't really give a lot of room. I'm glad I didn't, but at the end of the day, I just felt like Circle was better, and I popped over to Circle. With this, I think there's some of this that might be sympathy-based, so like squeezing firms that hedgies that short parabolic IPOs. Well, they might be in both of these, and then so liquidations can happen at the same time. People just trade similar strategies, might find themselves getting blown out. So I'd be a little bit cautious here. Like what I would think is if Circle capitulates, this might be an easier short if it never breaks the high. Like if Circle keeps going up and this never breaks a high and we see a capitulation candle on Circle, you might be able to just punch into CoreWeave on sympathy. That's about the only play I'll look for at this point, because the second I got out of that long, I went right over to Circle and found an easier long. I think that's what most people are doing.
Yeah, for sure. So guys, something we got to talk about. Each year, 3.8 million concussions are reported in the US, yet there's still no FDA-approved treatment. NYSD listed Organogenics, OGEN, is changing that with its first in-class transnasal drug designed for rapid brain access, with the concussion treatment market projected to reach $8.9 billion by 2027. Orogenics is uniquely positioned to lead the way. Learn more and schedule a meeting today with Orogenics. OGEN, trading on the NYSE. So check those guys out there. But yeah, CoreWeave, I think you're right, Neil. Again, this one, I'm being a little bit more patient on this one as well. This one has had a pretty healthy step up. You can see, again, you get that push, consolidation, attempting another push here as well. This is a 3-minute chart going to a higher time frame, 3 hours. You can see, again, I was here for the IPO as well on this one. Beautiful curl to the upside. Now I'm sure I probably have some sort of anchors and stuff in there. Yeah, so a lot of crazy stuff going on here, but nice base that formed, and then prices extending away from some of those earlier moving averages and even anchored VWAPs here. So I guess being accepted pretty decently at the open of this IPO here. So CoreWeave, beautiful trend to the upside, and today we're seeing more of the same, where yeah, you get that bid coming in, breaking that prior day, pulling back in. This is what I mean about potentially healthy price action. So it's like you see that push up, you see the pull back in, it steps up onto prior resistance, the resistance turns into support, and then the support takes us a little bit higher, and you can see that build up and step up of price action there here on CoreWeave. So strong stock on the day. The long was definitely not wrong, and through that prior day high was where that opportunity, I think, was probably some of the best.
Oh, nice. I'm seeing your entry price on Robinhood there, Neil. Very nice trade, guys. All right, let's talk about Robinhood here. Now, we're up only about 0.6% here on the day, but in the past 4 months, we're up over 65%, guys. And if we really close in on that, we're up over 160%. From the April lows to where we're currently trading at. So a really good look on Robinhood. But social media platform X is planning to roll out features that allow users to trade and invest directly from the app, according to the X CEO. Guys, what do you think? Is this going to be a big competitor for the likes of Robinhood?
Maybe. But Joe, I know you love Hood. You know, I mean, who doesn't? But okay, here's the thing. Like, you can be dead wrong about a level that you like, but then dead right when it comes when it sets up again. Like, that's the best way to think about it. Like, I was dead wrong about where to buy this off of the open, off of $77, because you can see what happened early on. Like, it started to bounce there, got to VWAP, and then failed, and it just trended down again. But then a funny thing happens. We make a V-shaped bottom, and that support level comes back in, and it's at VWAP as well. So like the way I see it, you have to, if you like 77 and you like Robinhood and you like VWAP and you like trend trading, then I got to be in there at that 77 bounce. Ultimately, I did a bit of a reversal here, which was kind of silly. I got out. It's kind of stupid. I don't usually do this, but I got out of the long and shorted it and then stopped out of the short, only to see it go back into VWAP, which was silly. So I just, like, this didn't need to happen. Also, I could have just got out of the long and then entered back in here and saved myself some, but that was a mistake. Right now, you're breaking this trend. So this trend up, since it double tapped 77.3, which is what we're in right now. Once this starts going, let me zoom it in here, and you see this. I'm like, well, there's zero reason to cover any shares, because now all of a sudden you have like program buying. When the program buying goes on, I just put trailing stops in and keep moving my trailing stop. And keep it that simple. And so if we break down underneath this consolidation, which is now about the 3/4 mark, I'll just jump out of the trade. I don't think you get VWAP anymore. You got a blue sky setup happening in Robinhood. I believe $85 is the all-time high, and I don't really see what's standing in the way, outside of the fact that it's slowed down a little bit. So I don't know if you see 80 today or next week, but I think we're going to get to 85. Call it by, let's just say by the end of the month, you know. It's always hard to predict these kind of things, but I don't see a reason why you're not going to get there. And the other thing I would say, which I usually do, and I'll admit that this, like, for all that I've ever said that I like this stock more than SoFi, it hasn't stopped me from owning SoFi and not this. Everybody had a chance at the 200-period moving average, which is my favorite entry point for long-term positions. Like if I really, really love a stock, like I'll give you, you know, like when Meta goes down and does something like this and I want to buy Meta, I'm in. It's just, I don't understand why I wasn't a buyer of Robinhood down here. That's easily the dumbest thing I've done this year, is not just pull the trigger on Robinhood when it gave you the exact setup in the long term that you want. Like if you like a stock, sometimes you just got to go ahead and do it. I don't remember what I was thinking at that time, so I can't really give you an excuse. I can just tell you. The only thing I bought at that time when the market was doing that dip was ARM, and this is done like twice as good as ARM did. So Robinhood, my trailing stop is in. If it's underneath the 3/4, I'm going to jump out of it. I don't know that we see that 80 break. I'm certainly looking to buy dips if we fail that, maybe into this prior top. That would make sense, 78.5.
Yeah, no, I think I like that look there. And yeah, sometimes, man, stock selection can be pretty tough. But like, it's like as long as you were there for the ride and you still captured a decent chunk of the move, sure, there's always going to be stocks that move a little bit more than the ones you potentially picked. But Robinhood, again, been talking about this all day. Another V-shaped recovery on the day where off of the open, you get that strong flush and then recover all of that price action all the way back up going into the end of the day. So 75.80s is the day low, currently trading at 79, so pretty much going all the way back and giving us a little bit of that strength. But yeah, higher time frame, again, going up to, let's say, like an hourly. This is a 3-hour. You can see that we've been trending up for quite a while now. Again, we've got those April lows that we've seen a lot of stocks trend up off of, but you can see that this stock has already been kind of a bigger picture trending for much longer. Let's go to the weekly here as well. Oh boy, now that is a rounded bottom.
See what I'm saying?
Oh boy. So that's definitely something there. And again, yeah, Jan 2024, I think that was, look at that, nice little consolidation, pretty much dead cats, sideways for almost over a couple of years.
I have a question for you.
That expanding.
I have a question for you.
Yes, what's the question?
You gonna take that breakout at 85 on Robinhood?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It was a rhetorical question. Everybody, so back when everyone's like remote now on the floor, but I promise you, literally everybody will have the 85 break as a day trader. So I think it's going to be one of those trades that maybe you give it 2 or 3 tries. If the initial break fails, you grit your teeth and take it again the second time, or buy the dip, or the other way to play it is take something going into it, so that if the break fails, you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about it. You can just play the dip a little bit there.
I mean, that's what these players are doing. Everybody who got into here looking for that push, especially if you got into this prior break, you're like, all right, where's the next stop? right? It's like that 85. So definitely, I do like the idea of accumulating inventory into key levels if you see the right kind of price action going in that direction. So essentially participating in what you're seeing happening, which here, I guess, was that stair step, kind of holding higher lows, and maybe a lot of sellers kind of coming in all the way from, 65s all the way to 30s, and then pulling all the way back up now, almost hitting on, knocking on the door of 80, 85 is that high. Is that, that's not IPO day high, but it is the second week of trading high on Hood, which is the all-time high as well. 240 still holding here on Circle, so got that on watch. Where is the chat? I got to pull up the chat here. Guys here for a second. There it is. So I want to know what you guys are.
We got a super chat I wanted to get to.
Yeah, go for it.
And not that it's, thank you, David. Appreciate you. I know we send a lot of super chats, David. So I want to thank you for that. We appreciate all the viewers, but if you send a super chat, you're going to get it read as long as it's clean, everybody.
Big smile.
Big smile. Literally habitual line stepper. We have some fun here, but you got to keep it clean. I'm famous for my brevity in this community. 4 letters, CRCL, full on green week for you.
Yo.
And as I said, like you could have stunk going long on Circle and be up today on the stock. Like I don't even think I traded it very well, but it doesn't make a difference. It's not necessarily moving the way that it was before, so we'll get that out of the way. Generally speaking, if I'm looking to trade it again, I want it to do something that I can react to. Right, like make a big move, consolidate, and then shake people out. It shook people out of the bottom. That got me long. And this one, it shook people out here under 220. That got me long. It shook people out and pulled into VWAP. Like if it doesn't do something like that this afternoon, I probably don't trade Circle at all. Carsau Oracle was free short. Look at it. I like Oracle. Why we got a short Oracle? You know what?
Somebody in the chat was talking about Oracle short.
You're not wrong. This is probably one of the more popular short setups that you'll see any day trader do. So when you say it was kind of a free short, I know what you're getting at. There's a pre-market high right into prior resistance level. The first thing it does is it breaks out the top without breaking out the actual high of the day, rejects that breakout, and then if you zoom in on this 3-minute, what's the response? It holds the volume-weighted average price right here. So let's kind of sit it out, see what happens. It's still a breakout. It then pulls back in. It still closes this next bar easily above the prior breakout price, 212. And then right in here, you see it fail VWAP. That's the key. Like when it fails VWAP here and then pushes back underneath, that would be your entry. So a lot of people would take the entry, probably breaking down through 212 with a stop right here. Oh my God, that's 40 cents. You got to be kidding me. That's like 40 or 50 cent stop. That's probably the best short you could have had off the open, just from a technical standpoint. 50 cents, and it immediately drops like $1 for you, and then continues lower. So I don't know why Oracle was so bad. I still maintain on the daily. I think it's perfectly reasonable. Oracle could pull back under 200 and still look good. It could pull to 195. It could pull to 200 even. It got pretty frothy into those earnings. So if it continues this push down, I think you just got to still wait it out. It's a nothing but sell since it got to those highs. Yeah, great catch. That's a bit of a miss, but I wasn't, let's be real, I was looking at Circle and Tesla and NVDA at the open. So if you're looking at those three, there's pretty much no chance you can make a trade like this because that requires you focusing on the price action pretty closely in that first 10 minutes. You only get those ones if you're just laser focused. I see 905. Hey, I love it, first of all, 905. Shout out to the 905
Exactly,
there.
that's what I was gonna
Asking about SRM. Okay, that's a symbol that I'm not familiar with.
Oh, we took a look at this one during.
You did?
During
Okay,
the midday,
good.
During
So,
the midday, yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I'm literally pulling it up for the first time here today at 43%, and I didn't trade it. I'm pretty sure I remember something about this last week when I made a power move, but that's about it. What I would say is it's actually looking. What I like about it is it doesn't have that horrible habitual line stepping outside of the $2 level. Like you look at the daily chart, and this just seems like a pure squeeze play that made a secondary move. And ooh, this looks good on the 15. Not the cleanest of moves under the prior high, but that's usually pretty constructive when you round the bottom, break out the top, and then pull right back into some prior highs and hold it. Yeah, that $10 level looks pretty good on SRM. I'd have to know the story to be comfortable about holding this, because charts like this look terrible if you're long up here in a general sense. But good trade, good day trade back into 10 at least. So you got that going for you.
We got a super chat here from Jason. So let's take a quick look at this right here. So Jason, thank you for the super chat. He's asking, I've been trading CRCL Circle all day and getting stopped out right and left all day. You all make trades very fast. What's your process for setting profit targets and stops on the fly? You want to start off with this one, and then I can show mine as well? Or
oh, sure. Like if.
Because like sometimes you're right. Sometimes we are making decisions pretty quickly, and it's I would say for me it's a different kind of trading, because it's not the level to level. It's more of a scalp, especially on something like a circle. Like if I'm not already positioned in, I'm probably scalping really quickly. You saw I was doing that on TQs as well a little bit earlier.
Well, I think it starts with like what you're looking for. So I'll just give you an example. Like when I was looking for the long, I didn't get this trade, but I can tell you what I would have done if I had gotten it. When I was looking for like my A+ trade was a pullback into the prior high, which it did at the open. So if I had actually gotten this fill in here, I was just too slow. You know, you get a little older, you're slow. It's funny. If I get that long trade, then I know where my predetermined outs, one here, and then trail. Like I already know what I'm doing. That's how I play a mean reversion under VWAP. Pulls back into the prior high, first resistance, VWAP, trailing stop, on trend. So I probably don't get out of it until somewhere, like I probably get trailed out. I could maybe get trailed out there. I definitely get trailed out somewhere in here for sure. But I know that going into it. This trade, where it makes a bull flag, it then sets up a new high. Let me zoom it in so you can see better. Sets up a new high in here. I watch it run that bottom, right? Put in the wick bottom, like, okay, wick bottom, you've just rejected under that 225. I'm punching the breakout of this little top. Forget about the wick, I just punched this break right there. My stop goes underneath. And what happens here is at first target, see that wick? It wicks it again. And I see on the tape at 232 exactly where it dumped at the open, that there's some sellers at 232. That's a straight punch out for me when I see that happen. Straight up punch out, because at that same spot, it's now doubled it. That's at the open, so I jump out of the trade. And then this one is a little bit more obvious because it's making a downward wedge. So I get this break of the trend right here, and I'm playing it. Show me any rejection at 225 again, which was that key price. I know I'm taking VWAP. I know I probably went out 225. That ends up being a dumb scalp trade because it goes further. But I'm thinking like that's the process the whole way through. You know, like I'm using that 3 minute for my executions for take profits that whole way through. And just to quickly give you an update, because I think we just got trailed. There's the trail out on Robinhood, and it's a sort of a similar thing. Like when I got Robinhood, that trend break, my first thought was I'm going to get some out here, then I get some out there. By the time it got to 78.20, it was a program buy. And if it's a program buy, I'm just slapping a trailing stop on it till it breaks the trend. It broke the trend here. When it breaks the trend here, the bottom is 78.75. Any guesses where my stop was? 78.74. It's just that simple. Like I don't think about it. I just put the order in, and then it's a good way to try to hold things as well when you notice a trend like that. But all of that goes into the thought process as you're making the trade. Like before you even get in, I have a general idea of all of that. And then that way, the more you do it, you're almost not thinking about it because you know what your plan of action usually is. And then I can just pull up the chart and it's like, okay, order goes here, stop goes here, move the trail when this happens. But that's just a process that you develop over time. And you have to find what works for you.
Yeah, no, I think solid explanation there. It's very similar. I'm kind of looking at some of the replies there, and I think it was common sense in the chat, basically saying hotkeys for sure definitely help. So yeah, that's something we don't really think about or speak of because that's kind of it's very natural in terms of hotkeys. And yeah, as to answer your question about how do we get in so fast and be so nimble. Part of that answer is yes, straight up hotkeys. Like I have keys that will cross into the book, and if I want to get in or get out, it will instantly get in or get me in or get me out, and I don't need to really think about, oh, what is the price, because I don't care about the price, because I'm not necessarily trading the price more than I'm trading the price action. Right? The price necessarily should not matter. Your average does not matter, but you're trading. So from my perspective, I'm trading the price action. So in terms of changing on the fly, I'm going to be looking for something that's distinctly different, especially if I'm scalping, right? For example, I can give you an example right here of the TQs. I was taking scalps on TQs. Sure, circles maybe not the best, but again, circle, we can talk about why and where I kind of risked as wide as I did, and then why I kind of re-engaged a little bit as well. Sure, one could argue that was way too wide and that was irresponsible. Sure, to a certain extent, it may have been, but again, there was a reason for giving it to that prior structure low, right? So right here, coming in, I'm seeing this this push. We'll go down to a 1 minute chart so we can kind of clean it up a little bit here. So you can see this is the scalp that I took here on the TQ. So TQ's selling, 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 and then you can see that we do kind of start to turn, a little bit of a push, but I know that I probably don't want to risk all the way down to here, even though the real risk is here, because I'm like, this is a break of trend. If I'm looking for the push, I want it to continue right away, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that kind of behavior. So if you want to call it trading with the trend, you can think of the trend as the behavior that's been happening on the stock. Right. So sellers have been in control on the stock, and that's been the trend. Now we break that trend that's distinctly different. I want to get involved and be like, okay, I'm looking for this to continue. And if I see anything that shows me that maybe buyers are no longer in this and we're making a lower high, maybe into the prior structure or anything like that, I do want to aggressively piece off as well. And you can see I did that. I took a little bit of a tiny scalp. And then another one right here, boom, boom, boom. As it's showing me what I like to see, I'm taking more and more. And as soon as it starts showing me that maybe that's not the case anymore, you can see this is a 1 minute chart. These are all 1 minute green candles that start to hold. Here's the beautiful thing about the tape, man. You can see the candle hasn't turned yet, but the tape definitely started to show some selling. And I was like, that's a trend break for me. And I start to piece out of a little bit. Got a little lucky there because, again, the tape will show you faster than everything else. Everything else is a lagging indicator of the actual flow that's coming in, right? So it's just that's kind of being defining how you're going to trade. I think that's the biggest part.
Yeah,
it's like that's the out. The out is the change of behavior. The out is the prior structure. The out is prior bar low, prior bar high, the candle, whatever it is. In that moment, you have to be like, this is the trade. This is my risk. I'm taking it. And if I see what I want to see, maybe you have plans for adding. And if I see price or action get to a place where I'm not really interested in it anymore, I'm probably getting out. And yeah, over time, you put in the reps to do that faster and faster. That definitely comes to you more clearer? Yeah.
More clearly.
More clearer.
Another way to level up your game, in addition to following Obi's advice, is to check out Prop XP, because you can get up to 1 to 200 leverage and a static drawdown. Scroll the site and pick your challenge at propxp.com. Trade directly on their platform, sign up, try it for free, and start your trading journey. Enjoy rapid payouts and real human support. No bots. Rated 4.6 stars on Trustpilot. It's trusted by traders worldwide. Right now, get 50% off with code TraderTV. Links in the description. Be the trader. Get funded. Join Prop XP today. Your edge starts here. Visit propxp.com. Is it re in the chat? I want to get this right. I'm bad. Sometimes I'm bad. Is it? If it's re, I believe you were asking about Apple, and everyone's like, you're not the first person who's like, why is nobody talking about Apple and what's going on at 195? And I'll get there in a second. And you want to look at a 5-year trend as well on Apple. So I'll do that over with my e-signal chart. But just firstly, I've been bearish on Apple in a general sense because of, and okay, I understand I could make a trend line from the highs, but if I just go back to when all the tariff, Liberation Day stuff happened, I think this is a little more, right now, more informative to me. What's happening from these tops and the 50-period moving average. So for myself, I remain bearish until you break this trend as a general rule, but I understand 195 looks absolutely fantastic. It's done it again where it's bounced off the 95 zone and has done so very impressively. So for anyone out there that's been picking up Apple at 95, it's probably going to look really, really good. I'm just going over like my usual thought process as to when I turn from bearish to bullish on something. I tend to really not mind being a little bit late. Like if I'm not getting a capitulation bottom, then I'd rather get the break of the trend instead of trying to catch the low. Because if I buy this and was my stop going to be like it's not in my DNA to swing trade this over 95 and get out under 93. Like, I just don't. I've never played that way. Like if I take a swing, I'm giving it an Apple. It would be like what, 10%, 5%. I don't know, something a little more sizable than 1%. So I'm not really bullish on it just yet. I think it could happen, and you wanted a higher time frame on it, so I'm just going to pop it into E signal, and we'll go. You wanted 5 years? That's a 5 minute. What am I doing? 5 minutes. That's useless. Let's go to a monthly.
Each candle, like
I'm going to look at a monthly chart on Apple.
Yeah, you can.
And on a monthly, yeah, this does look. It does look good. We haven't closed this at the end of the month. I see exactly what you're getting at. Look at the reaction on the monthly to the 50-period moving average. And you've just managed to wick and hold above it again. If we close this month over 200, yeah, that looks like a buy. But that's another thing. Like I would then not be buying it until we confirm that we're closing. If we close this candle over 200 on the monthly chart, then absolutely Apple looks like a buy on that time frame. So I get it. The trend is holding.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
I'll be devil's advocate here.
Okay, I like.
We've held that 50 moving average pretty well since what, 2010?
I mean,
when's the last time that moving average was violated, other than the past, other than 3 months ago?
Even go further back.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this is the first time. So right there. So we claimed in 04, 03.
This is
we have 09s, 08s right there. So we kind of cracked it there as well. So it's like in so many years, this is the first time we kind of violate it, and we violate it with aggression, and then we bid right back up.
Yeah, just
whereas that's a consolidation. Crisis. That's different, right? That's different action here, and that's what I'm talking about. It's like, what if that behavior is different? This is the first time we knock into it and actually violate and push after many, many years. Does that show a weakening of that level? Because before, we couldn't even get close to it.
You could make that argument, but I feel as if over time, you're probably better off just buying the dip until it stops, and then just understand that, hey man, it closed underneath. That last time, you're gonna lose. It's like when we buy in front of, sometimes day traders will find like a really good level on a stock, and you just buy in front of the level, buy in front of the level. You know the last time you're gonna lose, but it's just you've made enough doing it, but that it's like who cares at the end. But you know you're gonna take a hit the last time you do it. It's just but when you trade that way, if you're gonna trade that way, you have to take it every time. You can't just be like, oh man, I watched it 7 times, I'll take it the 8th. There's nothing worse than doing that with a setup as a trader. Oh, this setup is fantastic. Don't take it the first 5 times it gives it to you.
Gotta have it
take it the 6th time when there's like 10 times as many people in the trade and everybody gets stopped out, and then you just lose more money, but you didn't make any of the first 5. So yeah, that's important. There was something else I was gonna get to, and I've lost my train of thought, which is fine. I lose my train of thought all the time. You guys let me know if there's anything else you're watching. It's almost 3 o'clock.
Oh boy.
Apple's in a weird consolidation off 200. It's Friday. This is 200 on a witching day. What do you expect? We're consolidating at 200. I, for one, am shocked. I'm a little bit surprised that we're not getting a little more volatility in the chip names. I've now thrown an offer at right at my break even. You all know that I'm trailing out under here anyways. So I'm just trying to pick up the offer again at 29. Shout out Jesse Barfield on Intel. And then I'll basically give it just above this little peak here, not even to VWAP really, and see if we can't get another range-bound trade. I'm not expecting floodgates. I'm just looking to scalp something here for sure. Greg Ron, HIMS will close above 65. Will it though? Will it really? I mean, see, if you really believe that, you'd be buying it right here, because that is consolidating above the prior high. And you'd buy it there, you'd stop it out under there. I don't know why on no volume I'd be interested personally. It's strong, I just don't necessarily, like the volume's nothing's doing volume. It's just a matter of why are you looking at that name. Like if I'm gonna pick something, it's going to be a Circle or a Robinhood until proven otherwise. Like, until you show me that these aren't the names moving the best, Circle's not doing that much either except for pulling back. So I'm just going to go over to Robinhood. Robinhood's also doing nothing. But if Robinhood dips underneath where I got out, I think there's opportunities to buy the dip there, maybe take a consolidation breakout. I want to do something where it's moving. But I mean, HIM's daily chart looks fine. I don't know about this afternoon. Can't see a reason why it would get going. Ooh, Q's short.
Yeah.
Ooh, there it is.
Although I wanted to tell you that it did come in, and now I've got the power.
Oh, nice. Okay, awesome.
We're good. We're good to go there. So, yeah. So the TQ's coming in a little bit here. So I was like a little bit of a break of trend. Already happened a while back as we consolidated on top of those 73s, and I'm looking at this 21.9, right? I'm like, all right, do we see more of the same? Right. The question is, do we see more of the same? We've been making lower highs in this 21.9 area on the Nasdaq over and over again. Oh boy, there's some selling coming in. So something's definitely coming into this market as of right now. And you know what? I will pull up some news because I think that Dara left a little early.
Japan scraps U.S. meeting as U.S. asks for more defense spending.
Pull that up right now.
Just spend more on defense, Japan. If Germany can do it, you can do it too.
Oh boy.
Well, no, it's
but there was a time where they totally abolished their forces as well, right? But they were just like, we're not going to have an army or something, and then they kind of started back up recently, no?
Well,
I thought that was the case.
Generally speaking, in the 2 world wars that have had, if you lose one of the world wars, basically you're just like some ridiculously large concessions get put on when you lose a world war. And seeing as they were on the wrong side in the Second World War, yeah, that kind of stuff happens. But no, I don't think military spending is a good thing. I think it's, I would say
some of the best scientific advancements have come from military spending. We don't spend money on anything else.
That's the only positive, but then you could apply that to space. I think if that money went other places, you might also see the same whatever. But that's the only positive that comes from it. The rest of it is destruction. That being said, from some of the stocks that we look at, if you're looking for that continuation, one of the reasons I thought that Palantir would be good, LMT probably makes a bit of a rebound, is that like Germany's spending more as the U.S. tries to spend less, like they say. Generally speaking, it only trends up. Military spending trends up with the money supply going up, with government receipts going up. If money supply goes up and government receipts go up, military spending goes up over time. So it can shift over from one place to another. If the U.S. wants to spend less, my take is that other places in the world are going to spend more to make up that deficit. But anyways, that's either here or there. The market doesn't like that headline. We seem to be breaking down. Now it stinks that I didn't get my ad into Intel at this point. AMD's not really giving me a setup here. I don't want to chase that. Ari Pages, shout out to how things should be. Yeah. Curtis, oh, thank you, Curtis. I don't know what I said that would make you say I'm such a young guy, but I'm going to take that compliment if I can even find it again. O'Neill, you're such a young guy. Yes.
Come on, man, you are pretty young.
Literally, you've just made my day. That's all right. You just close up shop now because usually people...
And the weekend off on a good note, or start the weekend off on a good note.
Well, I'm just, usually around here, it's like, oh, hey, boomer and all that kind of stuff, which is hilarious because my parents are boomers, not me. But yeah. Anyways, market is coming back in here. Really should have got that.
I probably know who you're talking about too.
What?
So I know exactly what you're talking about as well.
Boomer.
I mean, he's pretty young. He's probably one of the younger guys around here.
Yes.
But
he's always calling me a boomer.
Yeah, he calls me a boomer as well sometimes. But
you know what? You just call him out.
Yeah, exactly.
Wayne.
Like Wayne.
Wayne.
Like what's the opposite of a boomer? You know. I don't know what that is. Maybe what's the guys? Chime in. What's the opposite of a boomer? A zoomer. Okay, well let's calm down. All right, so yeah, let's take a look at some of these markets here. Some of these responses automatically inappropriate responses. I'm like, all right, let's.
Well, you kind of asked for it.
I asked for it, but I was like, let's keep it cordial.
You know what? You didn't kind of. You literally asked for it.
Yeah,
you literally asked for it.
I did.
We know what this chat's all about.
Thank you.
And it's Friday at 3 o'clock. Yeah, yeah, you knew it was.
Yes. Yeah, doomer, because again, the new generation might be putting us to doom. But I don't know. Markets, though, dooming to the downside as of right now. 72's potentially coming in here. So again, got a little lucky. It's so funny. I get short, and then instantly that news comes out and starts flushing, and I'm like, what are the chances of that? So maybe a little bit of luck involved there as we push all the way down. Let's see if we can take out some of these lows. But again, we've been kind of chopping and churning here since about 11 a.m. So again, do I really want to test my luck there, especially after something goes in the money instantly right away? We talk about some of the best trades doing that as well. And again, that action was already kind of getting a little bit weak here, maybe building up. 73 is top of the range, and we've seen how selling has been going into the lower end of the range once, twice, and now 3 times when I was lucky enough to catch it once again here. So let's see, covered I guess about half there. Let's see if we can take out some more. Again, didn't really take that much because I didn't expect it to do that right away. I was like, let me build into this if this is going to continue. But oh boy, that flush coming in really nice.
Oh my.
We talk about price action kind of coming in time frames that you may not be expecting, and all it's been doing is kind of just ranging in that 73 to 72 on the TQs, 21.9 to 21.8-ish area. Sure, give or take 50 points roughly on that chop that we've been experiencing there. But the ES, not as much. Yes, you can see it's slightly, maybe a little bit more directional to the downside, but choppy nonetheless there on the spider. So
you know what you got to see in moves like that? You got to look for when we break down, what doesn't break down.
Oh boy.
And so Apple did it. Now, I don't know what's going to happen going into the close. We'll double check. I don't think there was anything terribly crazy expected for Apple with the S&P rebalancing, although generally speaking, most of the big cap tech names will have large imbalances. As a matter of fact, after I do this, I'm going to show you guys the locator. I bet you there's a bunch of names over 1 million shares already on the early look. But this prior resistance just held as support when the market pulled back in. So strong stock holds bullish support, buy said support, stop out underneath to take a shot. You're waiting for something to rear its pretty head, because I can't really say ugly head, and maybe this has on Apple. So I want to look to buy this dip. I don't know if I want to break out above 200, but if we can get maybe some money fills underneath 200 back into the 199.5, I'm going to take that shot on Apple. So I'm going to move one of my level 2s up there, and then because I just promised you, here's an early look at what some of the imbalances are looking like right now. It's only 3 o'clock, and see all the names you have over 1 million shares? There's a boatload of them. Some of them are small caps, like whatever ORLA is, and DNN at 11 million shares. Ford and Pfizer there, one's a buy, one's a sell for 7 million. Southwest, 4.5 million to the sell side. Visa's already an early look sell, 3.5 million. They've been taking it on the chin, along with MasterCard recently, because of some of the stablecoin and the Coinbase payment news. But look at all these over 3 million. What's going to end up happening is, remember, the early look imbalances that we can show you here, that's just the New York, so just the NYSE. That means all the big Mag 7 names you don't know till 350 hits. We always yell it out, oh, Tesla imbalance, Tesla imbalance, NVIDIA imbalance, Apple imbalance at 350, because we don't have a clue until it gets to 350. We have an indication on anything that's New York related, so you can look it up. If your broker doesn't have it too, you can always ask us too. Like, if we're not doing anything, and someone says, hey, can you check if there's an early look imbalance on this New York stock? It'll take me 2 seconds. You can always just put that in the chat. And as a reminder, everybody, if you want to be in the chat, ask questions, throw hilarious comments when Obi sets himself up, or I set myself up, or just contribute to the fantastic community. Just hit that subscribe button. It's a subscribers-only chat. So if you want to jump in there and be part of the best trading community, you got to go ahead and do that right about now. So hit it, and hopefully you don't quit it, because the market never sleeps, and it's always fun. And you might be picking up some steam on this Apple, or Apple might be picking up some steam on this breakout. I said I wouldn't take this break, but maybe I'll try to pull this back into 200 and see if I can't, as Sharif would say, weasel my way into 200. That way I'm still only giving myself the $0.5 risk and not chase this up higher. Go Bills, how does that affect Pfizer? That imbalance? Well, as you can see, 7 million paired. Pfizer is one of the most liquid stocks in the market. I'm not, like, it's got a gigantic, I don't, off the top of my head, I don't know. It's got a gigantic float, and it's done 27 million shares. 7 million is still a pretty big number. I wouldn't be surprised if, when that 7 million showed up, that had something to do with this flat bottom break here. So slight movement, but this is a stock that has only moved 1% on the opening for the entire day. 1% is the entire range. A $24 stock, its range on the day is 24 cents. So I wouldn't suspect it's because the sell imbalance is going to start tanking, but you might be able to get a scalp trade. The problem is anybody that can already see the early look is already short this. So if that 7 million comes out as 2 million, it's right back up here. If that 7 million comes out as 7 million, it might not do anything. If that 7 million comes out as 25 million, then you're cooking. So it's not, it just gives you an idea. Like if I was already leaning short into Pfizer and I was taking this trade, maybe I'm adding to it on the way down because of it. It's not going to be prophecy or anything like that. Just because it's an early look sell does not mean it's going to come out a bajillion shares. Oh, it's a buy, my bad. That's my bad. It's not even a sell. It's actually a buy imbalance. So forget all that.
So that Pfizer.
Yeah, Pfizer's actually a buy of 7 million. You know what? I'm gonna
6 billion share float.
At some point, yeah, 5 billion share float. That's the problem.
Yeah,
the float's gigantic with Pfizer. It's one of those names that I pretty much don't trade when it's on the locator because the float's way too big. So these share amounts don't really do much of anything because it would need to be more than like probably 10, 20, 30 million would matter more to me on Pfizer. But it's the Nasdaq ones I'm a little more interested in. I'm just in one short. We'll see if we can finagle into some Apple long. I don't know if you're still looking at Circle.
I'm watching
but
Circle.
It's not,
and just in case it gives us something crazy into the close,
yeah,
like I definitely want to be involved with that. Again, being witching day, you never know what kind of imbalances you can get on something like this, and you know it's been winding up and kind of stair-stepping up. So let's see if that can potentially bring us any sort of moves. But oh boy, Neil, I kind of noticed something, and I didn't notice one earlier this morning, but the bull is flat on his face right now.
Yeah, it's Friday.
Right here.
You got an early start.
I mean, the market's been selling off. We gotta give good vibes. So it has to be balanced between buyers and sellers.
Does it have to be? It doesn't.
The thing is, sellers have been dominant all day. Do you think it's because the bull was flat on his face? I don't know. Sometimes, tinfoil hat, tinfoil suit.
Well, you know why? Do you know why the bull's flat in his face?
Why is that?
Because all of a sudden, he's not just a bull. Now he has to represent with Webull stock, doing absolutely nothing. Look, I bought this thing in the mid-10s. I told you guys I would defend the $10 level. It got down there. I bought it once. And you show me if there's been a reason to do anything else with it. There has not been. So I'm sitting in this looking for some kind of a reason to add to the position on a swing. It just... I knew I wanted. I was buying in front of $10, but now all of a sudden, like it goes to 11, can't break 11, and the rest, as you say, is not history. It's just ridiculously boring. So, yeah, maybe the bull is like my namesake stinks, so I'm just gonna go for a sleep.
I think for that one again, being Webull, another broker, maybe you gotta wait and look for that hood kind of setup. Right? Because it just got that push. We came back down. It pretty much dead cat bounced, so it's kind of consolidating and really maybe accumulating or whatever, depending on what phase of a potential cycle it's in. So it does look like it's kind of like accumulating there at the lows, but I think maybe waiting for that curl and that push like you did with the Robinhood there. That could be the case. I don't know. Same kind of sector.
It might take
forever. Yeah, it might take. We saw that was holding that for a couple years.
I wouldn't be surprised if I don't add to that position this year. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Fair, yeah. It's entirely maybe I do, maybe I don't. That's where my head's at with it. I'm not in any rush whatsoever. Just to give you a quick update, there's that Apple on a 15-minute. It's a little bit easier to see. I show you a 3-minute chart all the time, but sometimes the 15-minute makes the executions make a little bit more sense.
Easier,
So here's the 15-minute. There's your consolidation. That's it holding the bottom on the 15. And the second, I'm like, it's holding the bottom on the 15 on the dip. Let's go back in above the 200, which, as you can see, it's been closing. Might be a little bit premature. I could have waited until a 15-minute closed above $200. But what I'll do is I'll offer the top because technically the 15 hasn't closed above 200, and that'll happen in 4 minutes. So So I'll offer the top in case I get it. And then if we do close above 200 on the next 15, I'll just add to it after 315, going into the high of the day, which is 201. So right now, Sean says, and not our Sean, Sean in the chat, Google is the easiest buy in the market right now. We talking long term? Obviously, we're talking long term, because you probably wouldn't be saying right now as a day trader, because it's the last stock I would buy as a day trade. If anything, why are we not short Alphabet? I can't come up with a good reason except that I haven't pulled it up today. But from a value standpoint, from a PE perspective on big cap tech, from PE, I couldn't argue with it on a historical PE basis. That said, it seems like it's about to retest the 50-period moving average. Let's see how it reacts. It's the weakest of the Mag 7 today, just based on trend, and it's just been falling all over itself. Yeah, why not short 169? Look at this, Obi.
I like that. Again, we talk about it was just dead cat bouncing. I've been watching it all day. I'm like, this one, again, similar stocks that are kind of in the same step is Amazon. Amazon, last I checked, Amazon was breaking. I'm talking about the intraday. Right now, like it's looking exactly like that. Meta's another one of them. So it's Google, Amazon, and Meta that kind of look very, very similar, printing fresh lows, dead cat bounce. So definitely sellers on board on the day, kind of maybe holding it down a little bit. Again, looking distinctly different than some of the other Mag 7s like Apple. So good to keep an eye on those. I see that Circle is back above 240 here.
Look at Robinhood. No. Yeah. It just didn't quite, it didn't really dip. Like, look at this candle. See, we get out. I'm like, it's going to trend down. It's going to trend down. It's going to pull back somewhere into here. We'll buy it off of 78. And the second it looks like it's about to trend down and get you in, whatever the heck that is happens, and it's right back up to the high. So Robinhood was apparently the one. And
I think it's interesting because so we've been talking about these trend breaks on the show for, I guess, a good chunk of time. And what I'm noticing and what I'm realizing is like the trade is not coming in as cleanly anymore, because I track these trades pretty much almost every day. So I'm like, now it's like, sure, the trade, like from a price action perspective, I think that price, like mean reversion, is a natural kind of course of it's like a, how do you say, a fundamental core of natural price action behavior.
Yeah.
Right? It happens. Now, how that can happen over time definitely changes, right? So it's like what I'm starting to realize is like there are certain execution sets that I was using for reversions, like a trend line break or whatever, and they're definitely not as clean anymore. So I have to come up with more creative ways to actually get involved with the said reversions here. So yeah, not everything is going to work as cleanly, and sometimes I'm seeing some crazy stuff. I'm like few months ago, this trend break would have worked absolutely well because it's setting up for all of that. But then now maybe the action is not as clean as I'm looking for, and it kind of maybe wicks me out and then stops me out of the trade before kind of pushing on. And you see that happen a lot, right?
Well, what I will say is this, though.
They stop working or they change how they work.
Where I trailed out on a 3-minute because it was. So if I'm going to explain why this trade looks stupid getting out, it doesn't look stupid. It's just, I'm getting out on the 3-minute. It breaks this trend. Hold. There's your breakdown. But if you look at it on the higher time frame, look at the 15-minute chart. On the 15-minute chart, okay, fine. It keeps on going. You might argue that it broke this trend, but what is it? Does it pull back and break this prior high? No, it pulls right back into this prior high and then bounces right off of it at 78.50. Like if anything on the 15, you might be holding it till it gets underneath that bar, or maybe even underneath this one here, like 78.45. So if you zoom it further out, you can make a better argument for holding the trade. But yeah, I mean, it's just revisionist history at this point.
I mean you can just keep going out. You can just be like, okay, I can go to hourly, daily, monthly, and then like you can just keep going back and back.
But you know what's, sorry, just one more thing on this. What's good about this for Robinhood is Circle's doing nothing. It was like in the afternoon yesterday and the bounce this morning and then this dip in here. Like this was just simply Circle is bouncing, go buy Robinhood on the dip. Where like there was no thinking, it was just like a blind fool could just see Circle going, and you probably could have bought Coinbase at the same time and just followed the trend because it's going up. This time it's doing it on its own. So like Robinhood's doing its own thing right now. So I'm kind of mad at myself that I'm in Apple instead of going back over to Robinhood. Robinhood clearly the stronger stock. Apple, does not, you can see here, it does not close above 200 on the 15-minute. So this is a bit of a premature entry point. I could make the argument that I shouldn't be in it until it closed above 200 on the 15-minute. That's probably true. I would just elect not to add to the position and leave my stop in. But Hood was a bit of a miss. Greg Moore, I haven't looked at Tesla. I got away from Tesla this morning. I feel like I had all the right areas to trade it. I just, by the time it made the bottom, I was looking in the wrong spot. Like I was trading with the right idea on Tesla. Tried the breakout, scalp some out and then stop out tight. Buy back into this level, scalp some out, stop out tight. And then this happens where it goes right into the low. It feels like it's the one because it goes right into this prior low. So I double it up, starts going, stop it out again. And then I revenge traded. This trade was a revenge trade, which I gave way too much room. So, at the end of the day, Tesla stinks. Like if it wasn't for Circle, I'd be pretty mad at myself over this because that ended up being the bottom, but it was nowhere near the 15 low. It barely held the 320. Tesla looks bearish to me. It's red on the session. It's underneath the volume weighted average price. The market seems like it's headed down. I think your Qs are going to be good. It's really just Hood that looks strong right now, as far as I can see.
Yeah, no, I think both Hood and Circle, you can see Circle coming back up into that 244 consolidation high. But yeah, we were kind of talking about like going to higher time frame, and then I always like to, again, I've brought this up a few times on the show, but just looking at a higher time frame chart on the spider, right? This is a 3-month chart. Everything that happens intraday, whether it be world-changing news, you have COVID in here as well. You have 2021, 2022. You have 08 in here. Everything. But take a look at that. In the larger time frame of things, we're still holding trend pretty well there on the spider. So yeah, we go back to kind of talking about how price action sometimes can be fractal, and I think this is a great example of fractal price action there. But I think it was Oscarito in the chat saying that, Obi, have checks in place for reversion trades. If it doesn't check all your boxes, don't take them. I like that. I definitely have certain checks in place. And when I'm following them, I tend to do a little bit better than normal for sure. So yeah, great advice on that one there. It's got to set up for your playbook. I have like certain checks that will get it into the realm of, okay, I am going to take this trade, and then I have other checks which will be like, okay, well, this is a much better reversion than another one, so I can be like, okay, well, is this a B, C, or an A? And again, that's a skill that I'm trying to build as well. I'm definitely not where I want to be when it comes to kind of properly assessing the level of a trade. But again, oh boy, there's that bid coming in here on Circle going into the last I guess 40 minutes here. So yeah, that 250. Oh boy, definitely within range. And if we continue to squeeze a little bit harder, I think that again 7 points for something like Circle. You can probably do that in a couple of candles, Neil. So absolutely crazy there. Yeah.
I just heard a couple of names moving around in some small cap, but nothing really standing out to me. Like I'm just kind of listening in. Like there's nothing. I have to pull this one up because I was about to tell you there's some small cappers that have been moving, and usually I wouldn't highlight something with 50,000 or 500,000 in volume because 500K at this time of day is not a lot of volume. But like, the stock is loco, so I figured I'd throw that one up there. But there hasn't been any small cap or anything that's going nuts. That's why I'm angry over Hood, Deep Tranquility. It's not doing a ton, but that was a good little reversion long you could have maybe had. Like you just see the slight downtrend. There's a little punch long you can make in here at 78.30 instead. And this looks way better on like I said, it looks way better on a 15-minute chart. But I find myself having gone into Apple instead. So I'm long Apple here with a stop there that just doesn't seem to want to break. It's not doing anything but heading down. I think it's probably going to break down. I looked over at AMD. I felt like this was a super weak name that I could maybe find a short. It's still trending, but where's the action? Like, look at the last 15 minutes in AMD. Pure sideways action. So I got to try to stay away from it here. Oh, there goes Circle. That's distinctly different. Right, Circle's really starting to fly here. Is this just going to break 250 today? I think the play that I'd like to pull is, given how heavy the failure was at 248, if I had to guess, and a lot of times you're guessing at what's going to happen for price action, is that if we get back up there again and try to break, there might be, if it gets back under and fails this high break initially, a bunch of people are going to dump it back into this prior high. Maybe not as crazy as that, but they might dump it into the prior high, and then you can pick up that dip, scalp to the high of the day, and then that allows you to kind of free roll hold your gains into the 250 break, if that makes any sense. Like, I want to see it either get above here and hold above here, or if it fails that break, see about if this prior high holds at 242, 243. So I'm going to have that one on watch. I'm into Apple. I will reload a break even on Intel if it gives it to me. But this market, like, we're just seeing a whole lot of sideways action. If I pull up the SPY for you guys, this is what the SPY is doing. Since we had this push down about half an hour ago, unless you see a pretty distinct setup, this is not a situation to be over trading. This is not where you force action. You can jump into consolidation if you have really good conviction on it, that you're going to guess it goes one way or another, I suppose. I think that the argument would be it's trending down, so why not short it? I think that makes sense. Like, you want to short weak things in consolidations. That's why I went over to that Intel. Ultimately didn't get the fill, so it doesn't really matter on this, but it's trying to climb back up. I might short this a little bit lower, just looking for a late day continuation of the trend, really. That's all you can do at this point, because we're not moving that much. Tesla, maybe, someone said? Let's see. Tesla's breaking down. Yeah, it's moving a little bit. That's moving a little bit better, at least.
Sorry, muted there. But yeah, no, it's definitely pushing into some of those lows there. Lower highs holding that VWAP, but distinctly different is Circle pushing back up to 245. So, oh boy, again, going into the end of the day, is this going to push into 250? I don't know. We'll see. But I like this this hold and this push of this prior kind of consolidation here. So let's see if we can potentially get involved for a travel up to 250 here. So let's take a quick look at that one. 245 holding, so only about 5 points away. And then all the way down here, 236 is where we're kind of bouncing off of here on Circle. So kind of stayed a little bit more nimble here and got out when I really should have. And again, didn't really do that earlier, so I'm like, I'm not going to make that same kind of push again. But let's see, finally coming into that 250, going into the second last half hour of the day, so the second last 30-minute candle, the close coming in right back up into some of these highs, 250s, oh boy, potentially incoming. So 26s now. So let me pull up the book here so you guys can kind of follow along and see the price action on Circle, because it can get pretty crazy, pretty wild, pretty fast. So again, taking a look at it together while I'm talking about it, obviously is going to be a little conducive to understanding what's actually happening right now. 246 halves. Let's throw on that size filter as well. Yeah, I just did that. Okay, so let's see where and when some size may or may not show up going into that 250, where we held pretty well. Again, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, and then now coming in to test that prior structure. You can see that aggressive push happening here. Again, got to be able to read the rainbow here, and this is some of these prices and share sizes sometimes go way too fast. So again, over time you can kind of assess the flow of how buyers and sellers may be interacting with the book based off of how the tape is running, right? You can be able to assess demand or supply based off of if people are hitting into the ask or hitting into the bid, and how aggressively they're doing it as well. So, oh boy. So yeah, let's see. First little pullback here, but aggressive push. Let's see if we can hold those 244s for that continuation here on Circle all the way back in. So yeah, I want to know how many people in the chat have actually traded Circle, or they're just observing today. So I don't know if I can I make a poll? I don't think I can. But yeah, I'd love to know.
Fabian can.
I'd love to know how many people traded Circle today, and how many didn't. How many just sitting on the sidelines, just observing or watching. I'm curious to know. The Roaring Griffin saying, "I've been scalping Circle all day." Nice. I think it's definitely a great scalper there, giving us that range and that aggressive direction right here. So people chiming in, yeah, a lot of people shorted it at the open. They're in it right now. I had Circle and I lost. Yeah, I'm definitely down on it as well on the day. But again, taking shots at it, looking for that trade to come in. Like I said, the trade that I'm looking for hasn't really come in just yet. So the poll is on, so guys, don't forget to vote on that one there. Did you trade Circle today? Simple yes or no, and we'll see. Out of all the people that are watching, let's see how many people actually traded it. So I'd like everybody to hit that yes or no in the poll in the chat. And I think you can only participate if you are a subscriber. So don't forget to like and subscribe as well. But yeah, very, very in play on the day. Off of the open, some of the best opportunities on that name there. Beautiful short. I see a lot of people chiming in off of the open.
Oh, at the open.
Off the open, beautiful short off of the open. Yeah, I know.
No, because you said beautiful short. I'm like, beautiful short. What? Crazy?
No, maybe not right now, but maybe if we false break that 50.
Well,
we could be somewhere, but
it's the risk to reward, man. Even if it's a great short, it's like what does it cost you if you're wrong?
Yeah.
That's what it's come down to. Like, it doesn't matter if the trade works. It's like, yeah, but if it didn't, what would it have looked like? Like, because here's the thing. Straight up, you could have just bought the open on Circle at 230, right? Maybe it wasn't 230. Maybe it was like a little bit higher. It doesn't matter. You just say 230. Yep. You could have bought the open at 230, been like, I don't care. Circle's going up today. It's going to go. Watch it bleed down to like 205 or whatever, and have that happen to you and just sit there like stubbornly, I'm not getting out, I'm not getting out, I'm not getting out. And then when it breaks, let's just say you're out, look at this, I held it to this level here, you get 247, you made $17, boom, I'm the greatest trader ever. Yeah, but if you weren't stopping out when it was $23 against you, that means your stop is what, 30 bucks? To win 17. Like, don't get me wrong, like that's profitable if you win like 80% of the time. Okay, not 80, probably like 70 something. Don't check me on the math. You know
it's like 60 something.
Yes, it's closer to 70%. But you know what I'm getting at. But that's what it comes down to. It's not whether you won on the trade. It's like what was the cost of the trade had it lost. So that's just it's a very ugly. You know what? Not ugly. It's a good example. It's a lazy example. That being said, a wise person, well, you know what, I don't remember where I read this, so I can't credit anybody with this. But the words that I believe in is that sometimes the most extreme examples can help make a simple point. And that's why I use the extreme example. If you just bought it here and held on, it's not a realistic trade plan anyone would do, but it really can hammer the point home of risk to reward when you put it in those terms. That like, yeah, but if you just bought it here and held, like my stop is underneath here, just you never get out, that's a winning trade that looks ridiculous if that's your actual risk plan. No one would do that, but everyone gets the point if I say that makes no sense. Anyways, I'm looking for this pullback in, well, what are we, let me look at the imbalances for a quick little second.
Yeah,
Circle is not on there. 330 is gonna come in. Yeah, I should let this candle close. I was sitting on the bid before 330, but I wanna let this, I'll let the 15-minute candle close before I buy this dip on Circle. Not too much else is going on. What's weird to me is that, you know, on a day where we're getting, it's triple witching, it's index rebalancing, and we're not moving all that much. So it's mostly small cappers there. Pfizer was 7 million, now it's 4 million. Ford was 7 million, now it's 5 million. AMCR is a super cheap stock, I believe. What do I know? It's Amcor. Yeah, it's like a $9 stock. Southwest is in there. There's nothing really that big. I think it's going to be the Nasdaq names that'll take the cake, but we're not getting a lot of price action. That's why we're focused so much on Circle here for sure. But I'm going to let it close, which it looks like it's consolidating. We close this next 15-minute candle, then the dip buy is a consolidation instead of a dip buy. I thought you could dip into 42, to be honest with you, on this move, but it's never gotten down there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just observing that overall we've had these much bigger kind of higher highs, higher lows, and I'm just looking for this to kind of continue almost right away. So, but if it's going to break and consolidate a little bit, I'll let that happen. Again, happening in and around that candle close. We just closed, and this is the start of the last 30-minute candle. So let's see if we can hold that 244 again. That prior high just being in and around 244. As you can see, that's where this VWAP. Moving average here on the day is as well. I think this is an 8 or a 9 EMA right here, this really light teal line. But you can see we've been chopping it up, but when we do hold trend, we hold it pretty well. And as of right now, we're holding it well for a potential push if the trend continues into that high a day, going into the last 30 minutes of the session. So that's what I'm watching as of right now. Let me know what you guys are trading. And guess what, Neil? The poll is relatively in. I think it's safe to say that.
The answer is no.
Pug Life saying I played puts on the open was still very iffy because the spread is so wide on Circle since it's pretty light on options volume plus IV is ridiculous. Yeah, exactly. So we heard Joe kind of talk about that a little bit earlier, the IV on Circle being absolutely wild. Yeah, let's take a quick look at this poll. So it seems about 30 to 70, 30% of people have traded Circle today and 70% have not. So, oh boy, that's a lot less than I expected, kind of considering the trade, but that's interesting to see. I just wanted to know, but thank you guys for participating. Thank you for, again, subscribing and liking and giving your insight on that as well. So Circle pulling back into that 244s. Let's see, can you hold the moving average? Can you hold the prior structure? Or do you make another higher low somewhere down here? As again, you can see every time it does pull back, pretty aggressive pushes, 38s, 40s, that prior low coming all the way down here at 34.80. So it gets 35, about 10 points away from where we are as of right now. Is that prior low that did step up. So that's what I've got on watch. These TQs here, again, you know what? I'm just going to kind of get rid of the rest here as we go into the end of the day. We're still holding this 21,800, but again, if we're going to drop lower, that's perfectly fine. Not really too concerned about that one. I'll get out of that one and reassess kind of going into the close. We do also have to kind of, get ready for some of these potential imbalances coming in. It is quad witching. Triple witching, quad witching.
It's triple witching. There's no more quad anymore.
It's triple witching.
Oh, I don't like that candle.
So, which candle are you looking at?
Robin Hood.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I don't love that candle. Is that enough? Yeah, you know what? Because I just took I'm not taking Robin Hood anymore. I'm not going to take Circle's little consolidation move and then compound it by being in Robin Hood, because I feel like if there's a huge capitulation candle like you had at the open, it does it in both of them, and then what's the point? Why be in both? You're just going to be in trouble if you do. Okay, I see a couple of questions in here in the chat, and well, while Circle's basically right here, it goes in the money a little bit, it goes out of the money 50 cents. CompuCare team, what up? There was a question just now from West, y'all, great name. Can you give me a little analysis from a swing trade perspective on INOD? Back to 70 or 38 retest? Well,
that's a range. That's a bit of a range.
That's, you're not playing around with that one. Yeah, that's extreme. Oh, you have, it's a head and shoulders breaking out the top of the shoulder, but it already failed the top ones. It's not bad. It's not bad.
Head and shoulder.
Zoom in a little further back. The other thing you have going on here is this mad respect of the 200 period on the daily since it broke it out. So yeah, it's broken the downtrend, holding this, and it's trying to break this head and shoulders, which, in theory, sometimes you like that better if it breaks it down, but it held. And so that's a setup that some people would have for a continuation short, fair enough, when it looked like it was breaking down. I have no opinion on things like this unless it breaks out the top. Break out the top, or you're buying it off the 200, so the 200 period moving average, or breaking out this top, and I'm not someone that usually participates in here on that kind of a trade. So I don't really have a prediction to give you, sorry, except that if it were to close beneath the 200 period moving average and break that support, I'd get the heck out of Dodge on a chart like this. I would not want any part of it now retaking that, losing this bid here. If I was previously willing to give it to 22, I certainly wouldn't be now, because now it's a definite head and shoulder pattern, and if you lose that bid, bye-bye for me. But I don't really have a prediction because it's not really a long setup that I'd ever take. I hope that, I wish I could help more, but you know what? I'm not going to just make something up.
Yeah, no, I think you make a good point there, right? It's like you got to have if-then statements. You got to have a plan because at the end of the day, you don't really know what it's going to do until it actually starts doing it, right? It's just like, but then that's when it's like when you've had the seed time again, like Neil does, you can be like, these are all the different iterations of price action I've seen coming off of something that's built up like this. So it's like, all right, so if it does this, I want to do this. If it does that, I want to do that. Et cetera, et cetera. I think that's a good way to look at it, and I think Neil kind of pointed that out.
You didn't hold that short in the future, eh?
No, I didn't, because it started consolidating near the lows. You can see 72s right here, chop, 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 grind. This is what I mean. Like, sure, on a different frame, this might just look like a strong push, and then it's just stalling here. It's stalling on the bid, on top of the bid on 72. So unless and until this buyer kind of steps down, I don't think we're really kind of pushing a little bit lower here.
You see the size,
but yeah, look at the size on the offer there on Circle. So oh boy, that's coming in pretty decently here as Circle pushes its way back up. Let's see if we can get that to 50. But guys,
I feel like I want to listen to that guy. Offer.
Traders, listen up. First month, free. That's right, we're waiving fees, so trade smarter and not harder. Upgrade to Elite, analyze, strategize, capitalize. Our platform, it's everything infinite. Data, instant trading, lightning fast market insights, game-changing charts, predict with backtesting. Reliable real-time data, global markets at your fingertips, all in one platform. Don't miss out. Execute your best trades now. Ready to elevate your trading? Scan the QR code and check the link in the description, guys. So yeah, Circle kind of winding up there and pushing on top of this consolidation. So it's like, all right, well.
Can I give you one?
Yes, what's up?
So there was a seller. It was at 246.12, or was it 13? I don't know, whatever. It was just above 246. They took the fill. And the second they took the fill, somebody walked it right back down to the even dollar level. So if you heard me say I'm going to join them, I just offered some out once I saw, because once I see a seller like that, and then once they're filled, it just kind of offers the same level and gets held. I'm going to scalp out. The other thing is maybe I wouldn't do that at 2:30 or earlier in the day, but it's also 3:37. It's getting pretty late in the session here. I punched out of Apple because Apple was literally doing nothing. So I'm like, why waste our time? I bought the dip. My stop was under here. I'm like, okay, we'll get a big move into the high of the day. It does nothing. It pops up. It's doing nothing. I get some out flat. It goes down, makes a higher low, does nothing again at break even. So I just take the break even. It seems like it's a waste of time. If something's going to happen now, it's Circle 250. I'll hold the rest to look for the 250 move. And I canceled my offer on Intel because at this point, I should have just taken it the first time, right into where we had it before. Could have cleanly taken it into support. I'm not going to bid this low. I'm kind of hoping I can get the bottom, but I am now going to put a trailing stop in on Intel. Unfortunately, it should have been a really easy add on this stock. Should have had it, doesn't really matter. It didn't add to that position. Anybody could have done it. I just didn't do it. So we'll just hold on to it. We'll hold on to some Circle, see what happens now. Boston Frank, you're saying large caps always do nothing. On a witching day, the last couple of times, at least one or two of the Mag 7 has lost their minds in the last 10, 15 minutes of the day. I can't predict which one it's going to be. It's not that simple, but Apple did it 2 quarters ago. Last quarter, I believe it was Microsoft and Amazon. Am I right?
I remember the Apple one. That
was 2 quarters
million
ago.
To buy or something.
That was in December.
Yeah.
In December, but I'm trying to think what it was in March. It might have been Microsoft. It doesn't really matter. The whole point is you're going to see at 350 some really big imbalances. Hopefully we're quick enough to react to them. I doubt we'll have this kind of sleepy action going into the final 15 minutes of the day. Well, I mean, it's like that 10 minutes of the day. It used to be, see, I make that mistake where I keep saying 15 minutes because it used to be like the NYSE would publish their balances at 3:45, and that's when everything would start. And then 350 would be the Nasdaq. Now everybody just does it at 350 because reasons. As a trader, it was way better when they staggered the imbalances between the exchanges. for my.
Yeah, because then you can take more. You have more time. You can be like, that's set up. Okay, that's locked in. Let me move to this one. Yeah, that sounds.
Well,
sounds
but
great.
what does it cater to? Making it all at 350. It caters to the algos, because the human trader would prefer that you stagger them. The algos really don't care.
They don't care.
So it's they cater toward the algo there. It doesn't really matter. But market not doing much.
Well,
I expect in 10 minutes we'll see some fireworks.
Yeah, no, 10 minutes, definitely some fireworks here. So, you know what? I'm, again, not my priority into the close circle right now. So I am kind of debating on whether or not I should really be holding this as it kind of just sideways consolidates. So, you know what? If I'm thinking about it, I might as well just do it. So I'm out of that one there, and yeah, gonna stay flat going into the close here. Let's see what shows up coming up into some of these imbalances. And I think Neil, you sent yeah, you did a little bit earlier, but yeah, I wanted to kind of walk through I guess some of the stocks that were on my list this morning, but I didn't really kind of participate in them. And let's see what they ended up doing and what the plan actually was. So I would kind of want to go back and do that, because I normally do that at the end of the day. But again, if you guys are here alongside, so why not do it together here? So Circle Coin, we kind of been talking about a lot of those, and I think Google I might have covered earlier. But oh boy, wow, have you seen Google? So Google. The idea was pretty simple. Right. They had that password hack, whatever, security breach, and we got that aggressive selling coming into the close off of into those imbalances as well. And I'm just looking for continuation coming in off of the open. And guess what? Google definitely did, and I was not involved in that. So nice catalyst day 2 or day 1.5, because it was an intraday catalyst roughly, I think, prior day, but. Whatever it was, it's been past a day since that catalyst has come out, and look at the beautiful continuation that we got after this kind of consolidation broke down onto the thing. And that's my alarm for imbalances, just in case I'm not paying attention. Got 8 minutes until those imbalances come out, and some aggressive action coming into the market here. Google flushing to the downside. Oh boy. Another one, again, this one I guess not on many people's radar. Trip.com.
Very quickly, just before, Circle just lost that little containment, so this will end up being a flat trade for me, because I took some out at the top and then just got stopped out there. So it's probably a good gut reaction joins the seller for some of it. So like I said, flat trade here as we start to break back into the downside. But sorry, just wanted to update everybody here. Circle kind of losing the bid, but still up 21%.
Yeah, I'm still expecting that. Like I was like this when that run up was happening. I'm like, this should go now.
It should have already.
And it didn't. I was like, this is consolidating for too long. So not really what I'm looking for. So I got out of that one. But a little bit under the radar potentially was Trip.com. I had this on my watch list. I was like, all right, well, you had strong relative volume with a nice flush all day long on Wednesday. Coming into today, I want to look at maybe VWAP. I want to look at any sort of signs of selling for that continuation, prior day low breakdown, whatever. Whoa. But that came in pretty nicely here on TCOM here. So nice little continuation happening there. What else did I have? I had, yeah, we talked about the Smith & Wesson as well. We kind of talked about this on the midday show as well. But again, this one worked out pretty nicely as well for that continuation. I did not participate on that one.
CME is tanking.
What's happening there? CME? That's
CME
Group. Wow, why is that? What's Coinbase doing?
Yeah, so the CME Group, which is, I mean, the exchanges, like they're absolutely flushing here. Don't usually see this type of price action. I'm just gonna have to. I haven't heard anything. I'm kind of looking through the news to see if I can find what might be going on here with the CME Group. But obviously, like, there's obviously a news story here, everybody. Like, so there's no question about it. You don't usually see this kind of action on this stock. It was already trending down, but that just got a heck of a lot worse. I'm still not seeing anything hit the wire yet, so I'm going to go on to the X machine and see if I see anything come in there. Because the markets might be going down, but it's not really doing anything that would give you these indications here. Apparently the president's taking some questions live. Yeah, but I'm still not.
That will definitely bring in a lot of volatility, potential volatility, right? We got to watch out for those ones. But yeah, no, again, watching this Coinbase, watching this circle into the close, and watching my imbalances pretty closely as well. Oh boy, what a great out there, Neil, because look at circle now, all the way quadunk back down to 240. So yeah, I think that was pretty decent out there. Got a little lucky with that one, as again, we don't know what it's going to do, but we start to kind of see it wind up, and we're like, all right, you know, let's use those reasons to sell as a reason to kind of exit the position as well on the day. But yeah, nice little push back down. Let's see if it makes that higher low that we were talking about earlier. The last prior low coming in at 236s now. So circle coming in with that aggressive action. I want to know what you guys are trading. Are you guys holding anything into the close, or do you guys also trade some of the imbalances on witching days? I know a lot of people get involved in some of that action. Excuse me. I'm curious to know whether or not you guys participate in that as well. I'm trying to get an idea of you know, what kind of traders we're working with in the chat. Now I'm sure you guys come from all walks of life and all different types of trading, I guess, situations. But yeah, I've always wondered how many prop traders are watching, how many other traders are watching.
True. Because for prop traders, this is always a big event. Whether you trade anything or not, quarterly rebalances and semi-annuals are always gigantic. They're just big events. Like, so a lot of your biggest trades will sometimes happen. Whether Palantir getting added to the index would be an example sometimes. Tesla, when it got added, has been gigantic. I remember like the very first, like very, very big trade that I had as a day trader actually came on closes during an index rebalancing. This is back when they had the old system for the auction, and there was no Reg NMS, so quotes could lock each other. So trading the close was a totally different ball game at that point, because you had a lot of locked and cross markets, which made it lucrative, if not a little more dangerous. Like it was trickier and riskier to do, but it was in some ways more lucrative if you were really, really fast on the keys. But it was very different. It was a very different ball game. I remember, like, you'd sit there, and sometimes you're like, I think this big cap stock, by my research, it's supposed to downweight, so I'm gonna get it. It's gonna be a big sell. So what I want to do is I just want to buy it. Like, you'd sometimes be sitting there looking for the dip buy, and then you'd be trying to get out on the gateways as they try to catch up. Very different trade. But with only 2 minutes to go, I have intel with a trailing stop, and I'll probably just throw a bit at the low of the day or around the low of the day here, just to try and catch something. Pretty much exactly where I got the bottom before. So if this comes to the downside, I get this fill. If it breaks this consolidation here at 21.15, I just get out, and then we'll go from there. Didn't end up finding anything on CME. Sometimes, like, being armed with the knowledge there, like, there was no news story that I could find. If I was 100% sure that I had no reason for this, then maybe you could punch into that bottoming tail candle. But I really didn't know what was going on there on CME. And then, of course, look at the push right back up. Sometimes that's what the algos do. So with about 2 minutes to go here, Obi,
yes, sir.
You're going to see a lot of big numbers they're going to hit here. I'll try to recap them as fast as I can for everybody. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to throw them into the chat for sure. Sometimes it gets overwhelming for people seeing millions and millions of shares into the imbalances. It's like, what do I do? If you're interested in trading it, you try to find something that sets up for you, like it's a good imbalance, you like the setup, and then maybe you take a shot on that. Carso, I'm not sure what you mean by this question, because you're asking about Oracle. Where is it? Shoot. And then I move it here, and then I can't find. Should Oracle at close, go look.
Short. That's what they.
Did you short Oracle at close? Go look. No, short Oracle. No, I don't think I did not short Oracle. You guys would know if I shorted Oracle, you'd see it come up here. I did not short it. Obviously, it would have been very good. Oracle still pulling back, and it was an easy short off the open, I guess, if you were looking at the stock, just in terms of its setup, but it's taking it on the chin. The daily chart looks absolutely fine, however. But also, whatever trade if you're holding a trade, understand that in about 30 seconds, all of your technicals and whatever the trend was goes right out the window. That's why I have a trailing stop on Intel. Like, it doesn't matter that it's trending down. That sucker is a big buy imbalance. I'm just going to get trailed out. I'm not going to have it go all the way back up. That probably works for that Oracle too. Like, don't get yourself caught if Oracle happens to be a big buy imbalance, giving away your profit when it's been trending down all day. have yourself a stop so that you don't lose anything that you might be holding. Because in 10 seconds, as I said, some big numbers are going to come across this board. And you're going to see it here live, because that's what we do around here. Everything's going to be live. We're doing it live, as we say. So here they come. Imbalances are now starting to trickle in. The biggest, I'm not seeing anything on the Nasdaq yet, so a bit of a delay. SMCI would be the biggest, 3.5 million for SMCI. I'm seeing no big cap tech, everybody. Pretty much CNH, HP, all the ones that were there before. SMCI is the one that stands out at 3.3 million. Although I did notice that Intel ticked up, so I'm just going to get out of that one. Even though I didn't see an imbalance on it, SMCI is the biggest of the bunch. I'll scroll down, but I'm not seeing anything that really stands out. Here, I don't know what you're seeing, Obi. Lucid's only a couple of million shares. Alphabet's only 2 million shares. 2 million shares on a quarterly rebalance is nothing. Intel, there we go. Good punch out at Intel, because that just went, it was 1.8 million to buy. But the only one that is exciting was SMCI. That's pretty big for SMCI. I wasn't expecting that. 3 million shares on SMCI. There you go. That was probably your only shot, was to notice that that was the only big one, and SMCI does break out. But you gotta have that somewhere in here. Chasing it when it's already gone $1, that's not going to be my cup of tea. But kind of a nothing burger here, Obi.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of watching this, and yeah, nothing too crazy that's coming out. Yeah, some of these Nasdaq and NYSE names potentially coming in with some decent ones. But yeah, that SMCI was nice here. Again, I'm watching. There's a couple of other names here as well. RGLS. Didn't really look at that one there. I do want to kind of take a quick look at some of these here. So SMCI, you did mention earlier. That's on the Nasdaq. Let's take a quick look at that one, see what that one's doing right here. So nice little push up into 45s. And then I guess I also kind of want to look at this RGLS. So
yeah, this is
let's
pretty
see what that one has in store for us. Okay, so this one is a little bit less priced, but yeah, nice little push to the downside on that one. So yeah, other than that, man, I really don't see anything.
I've never seen anything like this in my life. You could have just made your everything on CME. CME, I'm trying to look to see if there was an imbalance on the CME, but whatever the heck was going on, somebody just got, I feel like maybe somebody got liquidated and then it came out a small buy imbalance and just came all the way back in. Like, this thing came all the way back to prior support. Wow. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Pulled it up. I didn't have any good reason to go long because I was convinced that there was a negative news story that was crushing the stock. When I didn't see anything, you could have just said, okay, fine, it's been a few minutes and I don't have a good story. Why not just punch long when it does the bottoming tail and then breaks 265? That's a pretty standard setup. I elected to not do that because I don't like trading blind when I assume this would be a news story. But that's a fantastic looking setup. I'm glad you guys pointed that out. Sebastian saying, look at Lululemon. Why not? What is Lulu saying? Yeah, there must have been a sell imbalance on Lulu. I didn't see it. Nothing has stood out. I know you see stocks with millions and millions and millions here, but these are not big. NVIDIA, 2 million on a normal day, that's kind of an average imbalance for NVIDIA. On a witching day, on a sector rebalance day, 2 million on NVIDIA is a nothing burger. I'm not even pulling it up for 2 million shares on the imbalance. SMCI was the only one that stood out. I don't see one on Lulu that's of any size, but I'm guessing it was some kind of a sell imbalance on Lululemon. Krista asking, can I look at NXTT? Sure. I mean, I don't see anything I want to trade on the imbalances, so I really don't mind answering questions for you guys. Let me just quickly pull up why the heck is this small capper doing this at the end of the day. You look left, and I suppose there is this happening on NXTT. I don't have anything on this. I don't have a story here for NXTT at all, but it doesn't really matter. It's squeezing anyways. Just be careful. This one is a habitual line stepper. So without any good reason why you should be in this, look at what this does. It speaks for itself. You take your profits when you have these. It's gone further before, but certainly you're heading into a supply zone, into the $3 level, which is, it's screwed some people before at this price. Be very careful with these types of stocks. I'm all for people making money, but I'm not going to try to pump this. Hey, let's go. This looks really, really strong. No, I almost think caution here without me seeing an actual story as a reason for an XTT. But good look. I mean, if you got the breakout, if it got on a volume scanner when you could have had it down here, fantastic. But I wouldn't be buying it up there. Not when I look at that daily chart with 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, so guys, we got a bit of a behind-the-scenes look at Trade the Pool. The dashboard tracks your progress in real time, live stats, profit, and more. You can break down every trade, see your entry, exit, and how it played out on the chart. Check the certificate page for your full summary, achievements, and payouts in this clip. So in this clip, that's Michael T. He's already earned over $75,000 in total payouts. Trade the Pool gives you the tools and the capital to go further. Ready to level up? Visit the tradethepool.com or scan the QR code on the screen. Very much, guys. Wow, look at it.
Who is that idiot who got out of Apple at 2? You know what? I mean, sometimes I don't know who it was, Obi, but like there's this dude who was like buy Apple at 200 and then gets out of it flat. And that person, I mean, might be the biggest tool that you've ever seen, right? He's probably a KC fan. He probably likes the Dallas Cowboys or some nonsense like that. Certainly a Bills fan wouldn't do something that stupid. But as you can see here, that idiot was me, and Apple is now at 200 and 150. What's crazy about this is my first thought was 355, Apple has a big buy on it. I don't see Apple. I don't see Apple. I'm scrolling down. I still don't see Apple. I'm not really even sure what happened, but it certainly was not a gigantic buy imbalance. But anyways, Apple to the upside looks pretty big. What's crazy is the expected biggest addition today was supposed to be Palantir, and it's nowhere. Yeah. Like it's nowhere on the it's not on the imbalance locator. Clearly the buy imbalance isn't in there. Could have just already gone too far. Who knows? With only about 3 minutes to go. By the way, for the afternoon, we have a gift for you guys. Boy. Joey Options is joining me on the recap show. We got Steve Talman's going to come on through. We'll ask him some questions, but I get to host with Joey Options after the bell. It's going to be a heck of a lot of fun there for sure. Glenn Smith, glad to see you finally picked a team with pedigree. No, I was joking. That was self-deprecating humor. I am not a Kansas City Chiefs fan, nor will I ever be. I'm a Bills fan, and I'll be a Bills fan for life. I don't jump around ship. Like, my team is my team. I've been a Jays fan my whole life. I've been a Leafs fan my whole life. I've been a Bills fan ever since I started watching the NFL. And I'm just not going to compromise on that. I come up with a hypothetical thing that would have to happen to make me not a Bills fan, but I'm not even sure what that would even look like. I don't know. Like, ownership would have to do something ridiculously crazy. That CME was probably the best closing trade I've seen in a long time.
That's wild.
I don't know.
We're probably going to hear about what actually happened later on.
We're going to figure out what happened with this later on, but this was, and in real time, you could have had this back through 265. While I was looking for all the Mag 7 to have big imbalances, you could have just punched this reversion on CME. Somebody probably screwed up and found themselves caught when there wasn't anything big happening, and realized they needed to they got screwed and they needed to unwind. So somebody probably did something. Yeah, someone got screwed here, I think.
Was there a significant imbalance on that?
Not that I saw.
Nothing, right? Yeah, exactly. So
I just look. There's only like minutes left in the day.
The reversion of all reversions, giving you a V shape in what?
Look at all this. Look at all the volume at the bottom. Like, that's a lot of volume on CME right at the end. They got trapped. And look at the lack of volume on the, like, there's not that much volume. Like, this first bounce is smaller than this sell. Then these are really small volume candles. They're like hoping it would come down. Then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, well, maybe they got to get out by the end of the day because they screwed themselves on that short. Only a minute to go. I'm going to get onto the desk because I realized I should have done that 2 minutes ago, everybody. So it's going to be a fun market recap show. Join me with Joey Options, Steve Talman. Thank you for filling in for Mr. Katina Man. I'll see you guys in a minute.
Yeah, guys. What a crazy day. Again, we talk about all the opportunities that were presented to us in the market, but guess what? There's one thing that was very, very obvious going into, I guess I would say after the morning session, a good chunk of the morning session, that sellers were in charge on the day. And I think that came in pretty obviously as we got back-to-back candles here. Yeah, sure, we kind of ran up going into the open as well. You can see these 15-minute candles strong, maybe not a strong volume, but strong price action, nice little push. And coming into the second 15-minute candle on the day, sellers just start stepping in after printing that first 15, and we've been pretty much dead cat bouncing on top of that 21,800 as of right now. So that's kind of what happened today. Got involved in Circle, got involved in a few different other names as well, TQs, NVDA, but hopefully you guys had some great trading as well. 3, 2, and 1. Thank you very much. Again, brought to you by Origenics. Thank you, Fabian, for ringing the bell. I like that. I like the headband there. You got the Roaring Kitty vibe going on, so that's always solid. I'm all about the memes, guys. I'm always about the memes. But without any further ado, I think they are ready for us. Okay, I guess not. No. He's like, give me some time. All right, guys. Well, you know what? You guys have a little bit more of me while Neil sets up. So you know what? Throw it up in the chat. Did you guys have a good day today? Let me know. Good day doesn't necessarily mean red or green on your P&L. Sure, that can be the nice cherry on top. But did you follow your plan? Did you follow your procedure? That's what makes the day here. So I think they're finally ready for us here. So without any further ado, guys, join Neil and Joe for the market recap. It's been a great week. I'll see you guys around. Take it easy.
I'll have to get myself logged into the chat here because I'm not quite ready. But no, certainly welcome everybody. It's your market recap show. We got Joey Options filling in for Dara. I believe she has an appointment. Yeah, get that chair pull up, man.
I got to get up to your level here. I'm still a little bit lower, but that's all right.
Yeah, it's all good, brother. It's all good.
We're good here now.
But what a wild close. It's been a while since I've seen price action like that. You saw Apple at the end of the day. Circle's been going crazy, but it ended up out of nowhere being this move in the CME. Like, I don't wonder if someone didn't get caught with their hand in the cookie jar, maybe a fat finger, a program gone wrong, and then when they had to cover by the close, they just started getting rinsed. When I say they, whomever was selling into this move on the CME group, it's not a stock that moves like this in a general sense.
Right.
So when you see it unwind, that reversal is about as good of a reversion as you're ever going to see, Joe. And I appreciate it. I know you were looking for news, but there wasn't any. It's not like you were going to find something.
There was literally nothing there, but I mean, way to talk about that reversion there, Neil. You can see this beautiful hammer candle printed, guys, and that's what we look for when we're referring to volume price analysis. So that is an A++ setup there. We didn't know what was going on, but then you get that hammer candle printing at the lows, a big time move. So yeah, what a recovery we're seeing in CME.
But the real story today, and the story the last few days, it has been all about Coinbase and Circle. Right? It's a stablecoin game, disrupting payments, and everyone seems to want to ride this train. You've had good movement. Robinhood's participated a bit. Really, the only thing not participating is actual spot Bitcoin. No one seems to. They're taking a bit of a break. But Circle, and I talked about this, and I saw people say this in the chat. Circle this week has covered up a lot of mistakes for traders. Like this morning was a frustrating morning. It's like Tesla long's not working, NVIDIA long's not working. Yeah, well, just take a couple longs in Circle and you're back to green.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not always like that, though. There's not always something out there that you're like, no matter how bad your day is going, just buy one of these dips in Circle, and then your day is now fine magically. But that's what Circle did. At the open, it was a huge sell. And if you have some time over the weekend, and you're curious about what it looked and felt like as Circle was crushing through 230 down to 205, I was literally saying at the open while I'm sitting there doing almost nothing, there's no bid on Circle. The algos don't want to make, nobody wanted to make a market as the stock was coming down. So there wasn't even, there's nobody that would have been, I don't think anybody would be trying to buy that dip. And then by the time the buying came in, it was so fast that I completely whiffed on the long and had to buy the cleaner setup here. Like, it gave you a setup long at 11 o'clock. because look how much more calm that is. Like you get here at 11 o'clock, you get this nice little bottoming tail candle, consolidation, and then you can punch back long through 220. If you don't get right away, there was still some time to get that long. The long at this bottom was just ridiculous to be able to catch that with any kind of good risk to reward. But there were trades to be had. It gave you another dip into VWAP that I know Obi was involved in. So Circle continues to be amazing. I know you were on Coinbase this week. Pick your poison. They were both fantastic.
That's exactly what it was. And to talk about Circle a little bit, in the 13 trading sessions that it's been open, we're up 190%. So there you go. That says enough. This is a big time move, and we're up 21% on the day, closer to 22. So yeah, Neil's right. A big time move, guys. You don't want to get caught short in some of these names, especially if they continue to squeeze. You're not going to have a good time. And we were referring to the at the money implied volatility. So what does that tell us? 400%, you are paying out the wazoo for premiums, which is absolutely insane, Neil. That's why I say, if you're buying these, you need to pray that it's going to continue on this trajectory. Otherwise, you're going to be sitting in some trouble and get caught on some volatility decay.
So I'm going to make up a quote right now. As a day trader, at Real Trading, our locates on Circle are very cheap to be able to go short. So I think you have to have the mental flexibility and just whatever it is to pay for the shorts and locates just in case. But you also need to have the common sense not to use them if it doesn't set up. And don't get me wrong, if you shorted the open, you won. And if your level was 250, and you're like, I'm gonna take a breakdown at 250, that also worked. There were other opportunities you could have won, but I don't think it made a heck of a lot of sense because there were the deep dip buys were too good. All of them were just too good on this upward trend. And with that said, I think we should at least acknowledge Coinbase here. Now, what was different about Coinbase? I'm going to let me go to a daily before we get on here. Coinbase, the difference, like Circle is breaking out, IPO, fresh highs. There's nothing standing in its way. Coinbase is a stock with some history. So therefore, I think all that happened today is Coinbase went into that 300 level where there were some wick tops, where there was selling into that 310. So unlike Circle, there was some structure in here to work with. So it held the 300, but it also held the 310.
Well, that's exactly what I was looking at this morning. I think 310 was going to be a really pivotal moment in this stock, and you can see it reject it multiple times throughout the intraday session. So we got those moves into 310 earlier. Right out of the open, we got that 310 push, and then we sell off. But then we made another push later on in the session, Neil, towards that 310, but we just didn't have the ability to break it just yet. I do believe just with the level of this catalyst and the trajectory that we're on, it's only a matter of time until Coinbase puts in a new all-time high.
Yeah, I think it's going to get there too. And you know what? There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with an inside day.
No. It's good. It's healthy. It's a breath, right?
100%.
And that's kind of what you wanted to see throughout the day. I mean, a nice parabolic move would be nice, but I mean, a nice healthy breath, and then you can come Monday morning and look to see if it's potentially setting up on the daily for a continuation in this strength.
I'm just going to show you this 15-minute chart here of Coinbase, just to give an idea of what the 50 and the 200 period. Like, if you look at it, it was parabolic. Now, obviously, you had the parabolic move in. I keep wanting to say yesterday's session, but I mean Wednesday's session, right? So you had a parabolic move in Wednesday's session, and then today you just kept dipping into the 50 period moving average on the 15-minute. So no matter how weak it looked, it was holding it. That's a very, very healthy consolidation. So I think you come in with the same base case. Like, I don't see any reason, and I get it. One day you're going to go long in Circle, it's going to lose. But if you've been doing it every single day or all week, then you're happy. And I feel the same thing about Coin. Like, you go in on Monday, assuming long setups, and if you can find them, great, 310 breaks, 300, all that kind of stuff, until you're proven otherwise. Because why wouldn't we get this test back into 350? We'll chop around, even if we consolidate all next week from 300 to 310, who cares? You're still in an upward trend. On the flip side of things, Joe, I don't know why. Well, I do know why. I'm trying to be dramatic. I don't know why I wasn't looking at Alphabet today. I know exactly why I wasn't looking at Alphabet today, because I had all day long I had Circle up, and all day long I had Tesla up, and it's just, you can only look at so many things. But the security breach, coupled with this losing the 50 period on the daily, this was really nasty for Alphabet. I think as a day trader or a short-term trader, it's the kind of move that sometimes you miss. I know I missed looking at what happened to Oracle today because it's not a stock a lot of people day trade. But this doesn't look that good for Alphabet. What I will say is I can't remember the last time that a security breach at a massive tech company wasn't a buying opportunity. When was the last time it wasn't a buy? Seriously. And I'm not saying it's good news. Obviously, this is bad, and it's pretty big. But when has it not been a buying opportunity? And we've managed to at least hold the 50 here. We'll see. We'll see what happens on Monday. But my gut reaction is, if we don't make a fresh low Monday morning, usually you buy.
Hey, I'm looking for that buy here in Apple too. I mean, we've had a negative day, Neil, down 3.7%, but year to date, we're still negative. We're down 12% year to date. So that's interesting stuff. And when we talk about these mega cap companies, they have so much cash on hand. It's almost at any given point, like Neil just said, when you get a big time dip like this, it's a great buying opportunity.
100%. And I just want to quickly, I see some things in the chat that I wanted to address, and I kind of like this. Doc Brown, I'm thinking BTC is becoming an inverse dollar play. That would be interesting. Levy Clan, can you explain the imbalance report? Don't really know what it is. Here's what I can tell you. We have, and just if you search our YouTube, literally just type in imbalance locator and Trader TV, you should be able to find our video on it. I think we've made a few of them, but there's one really good one that should be obvious for you to be able to find, and that's the easiest way to go about it. And it's not that I wouldn't go over it here. Usually it'd be better like in the middle of the day when it's slower, but we do have a video out explaining it for sure. And I think it's a fantastic question. There's no bad questions out there. But going back to Bitcoin for a quick little second, we've seen the run because of the stablecoin news. But what hasn't really been doing anything, and I know we're both probably bullish on Bitcoin.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's now more, like I say it's 5% of my portfolio. That hasn't been true for a while because it's been appreciating a bunch. And I bought a lot of stuff on the dip, but I'd say not enough. So now Bitcoin's 7% of my portfolio because that's just how it works. But
are you looking to rebalance now, or
not this time?
Overweight?
Not this time. I'll stay overweight. I'm comfortable doing so because I still have some cash that I didn't put to work.
Yes.
So I don't feel uncomfortable with it at all. That being said, I do feel as if we're in a healthy consolidation. That if I was paper handing, I'm just going to show you IBIT here. If I was paper hands, and we were to break the top end of this consolidation, I might wait for a dip back into like 90. It'd be like 92,000, whatever that works out to on IBIT. Like you do have a nice top consolidation. For anyone that isn't like a hodl forever or hold it forever kind of person, maybe you are concerned with this if we were to lose these recent highs. I'm not, because I pretty much only ever buy the dips and don't ever sell anything when it comes to Bitcoin. Every now and then, I've used Bitcoin to like fund some stuff in Coinbase and then just get into some altcoin for fun. But realistically, I don't actually sell anything to just, let's take some profit in here. And I'm not that kind of person, but I am at least a little bit wary of the fact that we didn't have any continuation when crypto has been back into play. So I understand if you're paper handing it, you might want to look at some of these support levels, trim, and then wait for a retest of the 50, wait for a retest of the 200.
I mean, Bitcoin has been, not currently, but it was outpacing the overall market from those April lows there, Neil. But starting to pull back a little bit here. But one thing that I talk about often is that one thing that slightly concerns me, long term I'm bullish. There's no question about this. It's just some of the shorter dated periods that we're seeing of consolidation. And we went into an 8-month consolidation before we broke out. And then we broke out for about a month or so. And then we headed back into one, sold back. That's when we seen the Liberation Day lows. And then now that we've made a big time move from those Liberation Day lows, we've kind of headed back into a consolidation for the past month. So one thing that is slightly concerning me, and I mentioned this before, is that if everybody's buying this hand over fist, why aren't we seeing some more consistent, steady appreciation opposed to a nice month move, couple months of consolidation, pull back again, and then you make an additional move, head into some more consolidation. So something's just kind of raising my eyebrows on that front. But in the long term, there's no questioning that I'm most definitely bullish on Bitcoin.
Yeah, and I'm with you there, and I think I share some of those same concerns. And I think you're in a wait and see mode, if that makes any sense to everybody. And I'm okay, good. Like someone got rats, I answered what paper hands means, and I see we have a great community because other people have answered that question for you. Like traders will use terminology all the time. And if you're just starting out in the game and you haven't been watching the program, there's lots of things that will be in our vernacular that if I say something, or Joe or Sean, anybody, Obi, and you're like, I don't understand what that means, just ask. Hit the subscribe button so you can be in the chat and then just ask the question. We're all here to learn. We're all here to get better. And I am so guilty of saying things that will make sense to me as someone who's traded for 20 years and been looking at the markets, but will make absolutely no sense to other people. And we want to make sure that we clarify those things. There was a point in the middle of the day where someone said, oh, this stock is coming back in. And when Neil and Sean say this, I know what it means. It means the stock's coming down. But does that mean the same thing to everybody? Now, to my understanding, if I ever say Tesla's coming back in, whatever it might be, is coming back in, 100% it always means coming down. I would never refer to that as bouncing to the upside. But again, that's terminology that just makes sense to us as traders. So hopefully everyone's comfortable asking questions. You should be okay. We have a very good community in here. And the best part about it is even if we don't get to the question, I promise you we have people in our community and a fantastic one that will answer the question for you. If you have options questions, I'm staring right at anybody who has questions for options. Do not ask me, okay? My limited knowledge, if I don't know something well, I'm not going to give you an answer. Ask Joe. Ooh. It's that simple.
Hey, don't ask me. Don't ask.
It's the reason we call you Joey Options. So there's no such thing as bad question. I want to pivot if I can. I want to pivot for a second here because I wanted to Fed pivot over to Tesla. Ooh. Because this is a stock that, look, I ended up red on the stock because it didn't necessarily behave the way that I wanted to or the way that I was anticipating. And if anything, I don't want to say it's diddling in the middle. I find it frustrating at these levels, but it's holding very nicely this little dip that you had in the 220. Yeah. Everything about this is still constructive. Then you had the panic sell on the SPAT, and it's holding a higher low. So as frustrated as I am with Tesla sometimes in the intraday that it's doing, it seems like a pretty bullish setup that maybe requires a catalyst. Yeah. What we didn't get today was positive news for a catalyst, meaning they're delaying potentially delaying robotaxi in Texas. Yet the stock is flat. We're not down on that news. We're flat. So we're flat on somewhat bad news. I'm kind of perplexed. I'm neither buying nor selling here on Tesla. I bought once at 220. I've done nothing else with this stock except sell some at 280, sell some at 310, and now I'm holding. What are your thoughts on Tesla?
You know what, Neil? I have similar thoughts here as well, too. I mean, we're just waiting for something to come out extremely positive under Tesla, a good catalyst, that is, right? So obviously with Austin, this is going to be a big deal. But one thing that I want to note here as well, too, guys, is this going to be enough liquidity absorbed? You can see when Donald and Elon had their little rift there. Is this going to be enough liquidity absorbed in order for us to make that next move higher and break through these previous pivot highs? That's going to be around that 360 level. We're going to keep an eye on the options chain, but I mean, for the long term, there's so much possible tailwinds for Tesla here. You almost have to stay bullish on this name.
There you go. And thank you, Joe. I believe we are now ready. Are we? Okay, we're going to have Steve come on. I know we have Steve Talman locked and loaded he's been on Fridays before, so you all know him. And of course, I've already pulled up hymns a little bit early, but that's okay. No, we'll get to that in just a quick little second. Before we get to our guest, the other thing that I was going to point out is we usually go over some of the not just the indices, but some of the ETFs. And one thing that was not very bullish, which has been on a bullish run, was a pullback we had in uranium. I mean, it's been one of the strongest sectors out there from the bottom, and it had what we like to call a healthy pullback. Let me see if I can't zoom this a little bit further. Maybe a daily chart. Let's go to a weekly chart. Yeah, I wanted to show there's a weekly chart. So on a weekly chart, uranium with a healthy pullback that it looks very, very good. You still have a hefty breakout past that 34. So I think all of your Iranian names, if they didn't look good today, just note what this chart looks like on the daily. Even if you got back to 34, I still think you're pretty good. And that's like, what, 7% from here. I'm just doing some paper math in my head, 7.5%. So I know it was kind of rough for it, but still looking pretty constructive. We good to go? We are good to go. Let's bring in our good friend, Steve Tileman. We've got it in his Trader Talk. There he is. Ooh, there's me twice. Steve Tileman from Trade the Pool, locked and loaded, ready to go. Oh, you got the all white. What a wild day it has been. I can imagine it was some fun for trading. Anybody that was long Circle, except for the first 5-10 minutes or so.
Hey, Neil, how's it going? Yeah, great to be on. Exciting trading day for sure. Lots of stuff moving. So I don't know where you want to start, but man, lots of cool stuff on my radar.
Well, look, everyone's been talking about Circle and Coin. I do want to get to them, but I also wanted to ask you about HIMS because I feel like there's some names that have not gotten the attention today, and we're guilty of this. I'm guilty of this. When something like Circle is happening, there's just certain things that are happening on the show, and something like a good, strong upward move in a stock like HIMS kind of falls to the wayside. And it's not anybody's fault. It's just when Circle's doing Circle things, we don't always notice or pay attention to things that just have very strong continuation moves like a HIMS. I know this is something we talked about last time. It's up another 5 points today. I can't get over looking at it for the first time in the afternoon and not even seeing this. The structure was gorgeous today at the open, basically just dipping and holding the same level multiple times in the 200 period. Were you looking at HIMS today? Because I don't know how you could have lost on this as a day trader on the uptrend.
Oh, Neil, I'm looking at HIMS every day. So this is my largest position right now in HIMZ to show my confidence level there. So I'm in the 2x levered one. I think it's a beautiful setup here. Excuse the messy chart. As you can tell, I've been trading this actively, but it's got the beautiful cup. It's got the beautiful handle forming. And like you said, it's just so constructive on this move up. Just retesting levels consistently throughout the day between sessions and just continuing the grind up. I think it's primed for a move a whole lot higher. So I'm looking at 100 to 120 here.
Ooh.
Oh, we know you love it. Our man Joey Options has a question for you here as well. I mean, that looks absolutely gorgeous. I had to bring it up because I knew you were big on the stock. For anyone that doesn't know, I knew ahead of time that Steve was in this. So we knew we were bringing it up. Joe?
There you go. He's using the double leverage. Hi, Steve. Nice to meet you. Joseph here from Trader TV. I seen you had coin up on your chart earlier, not too long ago. So I'm just curious, where do you think that this catalyst can lead coin from a technical and a fundamental standpoint?
Oh, absolutely. Nice to meet you. And yeah, great question. So, you guys, I love this. I get to do my victory lap. So we did catch coin this week.
That's why I brought it up. I seen you had it. You were prepared. So I thought I'd lead you in the right direction there.
Just making sure. My audio coming through?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought I lost you there for a sec. So yeah, coin, I think it's a beautiful move. I think the discrepancy between Circle and coin is fascinating considering the amount of stake that coin holds in Circle's business. So I still need to brush up a little bit on the fundamental case, but it seems like Circle's pretty overvalued and coin is pretty undervalued. I think this move has a lot of legs here. Again, these long-term setups, these really beautiful, clean, again, really worn in chart here, excuse the clutter, but the important part is the big cup and the big handle here, just pushing through these key IPO levels. And I think this is basing for a move past all-time highs, honestly. I think this has significant legs.
Yeah, no, fantastic. And that's exactly what I was looking at here too, Steve. Just the fact that this catalyst and the move that we've seen on Wednesday, I think that this is enough to drive it definitely to those all-time highs. So yeah, great point there.
I want to jump
Absolutely.
in.
I mean, it's... Oh.
Just one thing, maybe I'll let you respond, but I want to jump in here. Does the fact that it's lagging, because to my sense, the fact that it's lagging and consolidated today in some ways makes it even better going into the next few weeks? Because there's probably some paper hands that are like, why isn't it join the Circle party when this has a technical move that takes you to 360 on a high probability? So like, I'm screaming, loving the consolidation today because I feel like you might have got some people out of the move, which we should all like better as traders.
Absolutely, Neil. I'm 100% with you. I think that there's a ton of room to the upside, and this is just really healthy. You have to be patient, but this is really healthy chart development here. So why I was in coin is because it was getting so tight. You can see these Bollinger Bands getting so tight. It gapped up on the S&P inclusion and then traded flat for a good 2-3 weeks. So I was buying every dip off of my my supports down here, and I was not expecting this catalyst. Heck, I'm not a fundamentals trader, but you know, when the chart sets up, it does the work for you, right? So I'm 100% with you. I'm buying every dip on the way to 500. That's my take.
You know, we had this conversation in the middle of the day when it comes to, you know, the move that you get when you're already in a trade sometimes just gives you a bigger win initially. And anyways, I had this short. I was shorting Intel at pretty much the exact moment that that negative chip headline came out. So all of a sudden, the move that would have gone a little bit went a lot. And Obi was like, "Oh, what a great trade!" I said, "Look, man, I just happened to be in this thing when it happened. Like, there's some luck in there. But look, luck is when preparation meets that sort of circumstance. So really, you got to give yourself full credit. Coin was probably going to do this anyway, Steve. It just happened to move a little bit faster. But my next question for you is, you mentioned you're taking HIMZ. Right, so when you have conviction, because going into a levered is certainly something which, you know, takes a little more stones. We like to say you're a little more conviction. When it comes to coin, and I'm only saying this because Joey Options is with us. Do you ever dip into options to get a little bit more leverage, or are you strictly an equity trader? I myself, I'm really just equities. I might sell a covered call on something like that. But for yourself, do you ever dip into options to try to get more leverage?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Neil, I'm sure you've heard this trajectory many, many times, but I started out primarily with options, got burnt primarily on options, and gravitated towards just shares primarily. But I do love these 2x leveraged ETFs just because they provide a lot of juice without exposing yourself to too much risk. That being said, I do love placing options trades, but I always just frame them as my max loss is essentially the price I'm paying for the option. So I'm just looking for a little bit of extra juice, trying to get a foothold on 100 shares at a time. And I play it like that, and it's worked a lot better than you know, getting stopped out on volatility there.
You know, it's so interesting that I have heard that trajectory so many times. Like, I'm the old school. Like, you start out with shares, maybe dabble, do the old boring thing. If I'm not in love with a position, sell some covered calls and get some income. Like, I don't really do anything more than that. But having the discipline to, you know, kind of go from that, blow it up, go into equity until you get that base, and then sort of go back toward that path. I know someone to my right who can probably echo that. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it totally does make a lot of sense. And that's why, I guess, with the experience, you kind of learn to move in a hybrid sense, right? So you start with equities, and then you can build, once the thesis really starts to work out, you can start using options. Do you do anything along those lines like that, Steve?
Oh, absolutely. You're speaking my language. So I love establishing a position with shares, and then I try to size. So if I get a dip, it's a gift, right? Because I believe in this setup. It hasn't broken any major levels or anything. And I just say, hey, I was a little early. I can build that up. And then when we get that confirmation of the breakout, and my favorite is the back test of the breakout, when those premiums come down a little bit, you know, then I think you can really push the pedal to the metal there and get some real nice returns.
Oh, no, you're literally speaking my language there, Steve. That's exactly
Get me out of here.
Yeah,
you guys
exactly.
can just throw it out now.
Neil off to the side. We're talking the same language because I have the exact same approach. I will start a position with shares, and then when the thesis really starts to pan out and start working is when I really start to leverage using options. And I think a hybrid approach, especially for the newer or even more experienced, is definitely the way to go there.
Absolutely. And I think I think you would probably be in a similar mindset of always buying a little more time than you think you need, you know, just playing it a little safe, because if it works, the explosive returns are going to be there either way, right?
That's what I tell the traders, is just always buy the time. Don't get caught up in the nearer dated. It's worth it. It's worth it. You're already leveraging your system, so you may as well pay a little extra premium just for those longer durations and those further dated expiration cycles.
100% with you there. It's nice that I'm in alignment with traders. It means I'm doing something right.
That's great stuff.
Just some mic drops to the left of them and to the right of them. You don't need me, everybody. I know we're getting on in time here, so I'm just wrap. First of all, let me just before I get to your final thoughts here. everybody in our community, if you're like myself and you don't have a ton of, you have a ton of expertise when it comes to options, these are the moments where you want to sit back and listen. And if you need to, just go back and replay this between Steve and Joe, or listen in the middle of the day. And maybe the next time we have you on, we'll get Joe in here to talk some options again, because I think it's went very, very well. But just to wrap things up, obviously we had the Fed this week. We have a lot of movement going on. We don't really have a lot in terms of earnings. We just had major rebalancing. It was just triple witching. Is there anything that you're looking forward to that's not HIMS next week as your final thoughts? Because we don't really have a lot of catalysts, but we certainly have a lot of movement. I know we like Coinbase. I know we like some HIMS. Anything else on your mind before we get you out of here?
Yeah, it's not the most glamorous thing, but honestly, I'm expecting a little bit of pullback on SPY. I think I want to kind of hedge my long exposure in these high beta names with a little bit of downside protection on SPY. I think we could. I'm seeing a lot of put flow. I don't know if it's just me, but I'm kind of feeling like I got this sense that we might have a 200-day moving average retest that would really catch people off sides in the next week or two.
Well, if you looked at what was going on in some of the bigger names, between Alphabet, somebody had a big sell program on Amazon this morning out of nowhere. And there's just little things like that always, there was no good reason for it. I understand why Alphabet was down. I get it because they had the breach. But like someone had a sell program on Amazon. You don't see that kind of thing and have it not have the hair stick up and your spidey sense get up there. So I'm kind of with you there. People probably want to lock in some profit. You have other sectors starting to break out. So I love that look. I'm in agreement with you. Although because I didn't get enough in on the dips, I don't find myself as concerned because I still have some money that I want to put to work. But great thoughts there. Congratulations and best of luck because I know you're still in HIMS. I know that. Let's hope that goes to the moon. And I'm with you on Coinbase. 100%. We're both with you on that Coinbase. So Steve Talman, Trade the Pool. Have a fantastic weekend. Can't wait to talk to you next week.
Thanks so much, Neil. Good talking with you guys.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay, Joe.
So there we have it.
We have it. So here's the thing. Usually about this time we do roll call.
Ooh.
Now, I can do it. Adara usually does it. My question to you is, do you want to take a shot at the roll call, or do you want to let me handle the roll call?
I mean, if I had the chat up, I would be getting in the roll call.
Okay,
That's the thing. Remember, I'm not in on
My
the
bad.
chat. No, that's okay. I would be. But I'm going to do this. I'm going to wing it because I'm going to guess. I'm going to go a couple names who is already in the chat. We got Pug Life. We got Gorev Sandoval. Who else do we got? We got Tyler Verse. And that's all I can remember for now. We're going to send it over to Neil. But shout out to all those guys and the regulars who are regular in the chat.
Gorev is in the chat. He's all up in there right now. So shout out. First of all, if you want to be in the chat and be in roll call, hit that subscribe button. It's a subs only chat. Give a big shout out to the entire team. Great job by Joey Options, our guest Steve Talman. Shout out to Sean. I know he's having a heck of a lot of fun at Cirque du Soleil. To Sharif. Obi, thank you for filling in for Sharif. Our man on the ones and twos there. Fabian doing a great job with Andre. Just give shout outs to Brendan as well. Of course, Ramin. Get it, Ram. And Adara, thank you for filling in for Adara. But let's get some roll call on everybody. I see Anthony in here. I see poor Robin Hood, CompuCare team. We got Butt of His Skidhead, Smokey Love, Rolage de Rolas, Drew. We got Susie Fox, John Knox, Phil of the Future, Grandma's Garden, Smokey Love again, John M. We got Dollar Bill, y'all, Jai Singh, Mojo Post, The Roaring Griffin, Ace High 124, West Wall Street only, Trina P. We've also got Indecisive Candle. We don't like those. David Tretsiak, Greg Moore, Wall Street only, Susie Fox, Christopher Jones, Carsau Ow, Kuba the Kid. I have no idea what that is. Apple Manila. We've got Ty. We've got DJ 2AM, Pug Life, Green Day Dean, Stevenson, ETN, The Realist, Farm Trader, Mr. Thumbs Up, Joseph Brown.
Ooh.
Is also in the chat. Taco Trader, Ari Pages, shout out to you, man, and congratulations. We'll end it right there because I meant to say this on the show. I responded to you in the chat, Ari, but Ari Pages has made you were talking about that you've made a big turnaround in your trading and getting a lot of consistency, and the only time you lose is when you don't follow your plan. I love to see that. So congratulations to you. That's how it should be. Losing means you didn't follow your plan, and when you follow your plan, it's all good. So congratulations to you. That's what we're all about. We're all trying to get better as traders here. And with that, Joe, thanks for filling in.
No, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. And shout out to my guy DJ 2 AM. I forgot to mention you as well too. Don't think I forget. All right.
But you know the deal. Rest up this weekend. More action, more Circle, more Coinbase, more hymns. Next week, 8:30 in the morning, Monday morning. We're Trader TV Live. Have a good weekend.
Yeah.
I pity the fool that doesn't hit the like and subscribe button.